Ladies and gentlemen, well, names are the wrong way round, but we will go with this. I'm John Partridge. Jack Patton beside me. We are bringing you Monday Night Pauper here from Darksphere in London. I have no idea about Pauper, so this is definitely a learning curve for me. Jack is definitely the more professional player than I am. However, this one is very special. This one is with a bit of a twist. However, I'm not going to do this because it would be very rude of me to do this. Jack's going to do this for me. Why, Jack, is today so important for Monday Night Pauper?
Because tonight we have an extremely special guest, the man who has been...
Hang on, well, when you say extremely, as in how extremely special?
As in the man who has pushed this format globally to be recognised by Channel Fireball enough to put on major events. 302 players at an event yesterday, exactly.
Wow, that's a number of players to play Pauper in a format I have definitely more recently paid more attention to for this reason. But why? Who is this person?
This person is the Professor. We have the Professor here with us tonight.
It's not bad.
That's pretty good. I'm really excited.
From across the pond, let me point this out. The Professor from the Tolarian Academy, I believe, is what his thing is?
Yeah. The Tolarian Community College.
There we go.
And he has come all the way to London. He played Pauper in the side event at GP London and 2-1'd it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
He is not a bad Pauper player, folks. Like, let's just be clear about that. But he's here with us tonight as well, which is fantastic to see.
Then what we will do is we'll send it down to the feature match area for game number 1 here from Monday Night Pauper from Darksphere in London. We have Elves versus Blue-Red Delver. Apparently not Scred Delver. There is a difference, apparently, but we will get onto that very momentarily. We're going to give the players the go-ahead. They can get off their phones, and we will soon be on with our game. Alexi going to go and give them the thumbs up. Apparently today, today's magicians are more interested in their phones than making sure their decks are ready to go. But we'll soon be on with it. So we'll quickly get rid of the card image because there may be a Cultivate shown today, but not one right now.
So no. So what we have on the left from Alex is what looks like a fairly classic Elves deck.
Good, because I've got a computer down here that tells me what the cards are.
Now this is a list that intends to go wide. It's making Elves with Lissalana Huntmaster. It doesn't flood out very easily because it's playing only
9 lands.
Yeah, 7 to 9 lands is fairly common.
Sorry, 9 lands in a... Okay, cool. Right, carry on.
It runs effortlessly because it also plays land grant, which if you reveal your hand and you have no lands in it, you can go and fetch up a forest, which you can obviously play. And it runs 7 to 12 mana elves, and some of those elves require other elves to make mana, but there are effectively a lot of mana dorks in this deck. That's how it runs. The other side of this matchup is an Is It Delver deck. Now this is, as I say, the not Scred version, so we won't see any snow-covered permanents in play on Adam's side of the board, but he is running the full 4 lightning bolts as well as a few select sideboard choices.
Okay.
It just gives you a little bit of extra power. Unfortunately, it does make the deck slightly less consistent. Mana bases in Pauper are a lot harder to turn into 3 or 4 colour mana bases because of the simple lack of fetch lands or rare dual lands, which normally give us the access we need.
So we're probably going to pull back slightly from that one. Because I didn't know this and I had to find this out. So for those of you who may not be aware of the Pauper format, you're not allowed to play Mythics.
No.
You're not allowed to play Rares. And to be fair, you're not even allowed to play Uncommons. It is a format of common cards. But so think of your Brainstorm, your Ponders, your Preordains, your Delver of Secrets.
Commons from every era of Magic. From before Wizards was printing cards at rarity for their power level, they printed cards at rarity because of the complexity of the cards. These are normally, I'm not going to say always because some of these cards have some really ridiculous text on them. Normally these are slightly easier to understand cards, but it doesn't make them any less powerful. Delver of Secrets is an incredibly easy to understand card. Still a ridiculously powerful card.
So obviously for those, if it was printed at common at any point in its existence, even if it's gone to uncommon, you can still play it. So I'm hoping the players are going to get going soon. There's a lot of shuffling going on. We'll go and make sure they've been given the thing to get some dice on the way, and we will get them underway. I may have to disappear off the screen for a moment.
Yes. So while John's gone, we're going to be discussing what this matchup looks like. Now, the Elves deck, as long as it gets off to an even reasonable start that isn't controlled out by counter magic, is probably going to be able to go wide. The Delver deck has to be able to stop things like the Lissalana Huntmaster that really set this deck off. An Elvish Elite, which picks up +1/+1 counters for every elf that enters the battlefield, is not necessarily the scariest thing to this deck. I believe Adam is running Vapor Snags, which means that +1/+1 counters on a creature, not as scary for him. And also, he's running plenty of chump blockers. So while he can still be getting in the air for 3 with a Delver, he can be using his Fairy Miscreants and his Spell Stutter Sprites to chump block.
And we also have to think about it in this way. Vapor Snag, normally people look at it and go, that card seems terrible. In a constructed format where your power level of individual cards is not necessarily anywhere near what we would normally think of, because we're not playing with rares and mythics. Obviously, Wizards have to keep a level of power down with commons and uncommons. Actually, Vapor Snag is an incredibly potent spell.
Yes.
And in such ways that losing a life as well can be quite important, but 1 mana, it's all you really want, especially in these decks, which I can imagine the Elf deck gets on board quite quickly, so having those different things. But we see Alex taking a mulligan down to 6, happy with his hand, but Adam's hand seems quite good. Island, Delver.
Exactly, Island, Delver, and he's actually got a second land in there in Ash Barrens, which is a pickup from Commander 2016, which was an incredibly good pickup, actually, for Pauper. It's a land that enters the battlefield untapped, taps for a single colourless, but can also be basic land cycled for 1. So on turn 2, you can be mana neutral with your land drops by cycling it away, getting yourself another island or mountain to help fix you. This means that you can more reliably cast your very hard to cast spells, because there is obviously a counter spell in the deck, and double blue is not an easy mana cost to cast.
Definitely, and one of the things to bear in mind is obviously we're used to cycling as just pitch a card, draw a card.
Yeah.
Basic land cycling and land cycling itself is an older mechanic. We've got to think back to Shards of Alara with the Pale Recluse, the card? There's a forest plane cycling card.
Oh,
but
yes,
it was where you paid a certain amount of mana, discarded card, and then search your library. So basic land cycling is 1, discard this card, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your library. So what it allows you to do is play a useful land that maybe later on in the game you just play as a colourless land because you don't want to really, or use the filter your deck, or if you've got no basics, just make it as another land. But it has that ability early on in the game to get your colours online. As you see, Alex not happy with his opening hand at all quite yet, but
the deck mulligans very well.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
In my understanding, the deck mulligans extremely well. You need very little in the way of actual in your hand equipment to just put a ton of material on the board and begin building up this unstoppable elf ball. Because the idea is that you are building up an elf ball much like you are in Legacy. You are just not ramping into Crater Hoof Behemoth. You are instead simply grinding your opponents down with a bunch of 1/1s and occasionally a 20/20.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, no trample on him, but he is a 20/20.
He is a 20/20. That does require what is called a chump block.
Chump.
And is lethal damage normally straight away. And there's no fetch lands in this format, so your life totals are generally 20 at the beginning.
You aren't taking 1 off a fetch land on turn 1. If you're fetching, it's with an Evolving Wilds, and that's entirely pain-free.
So it looks like we have a keep here from Alex. Adam, I'm going to start with a turn 1 Ponder.
Signed by the Professor, I'm going to point out.
A lot of people got a lot of cards signed, I believe, at the weekend, didn't they, by the Professor?
This was the card I also got signed, The Correct Art of Ponder.
And we're seeing a keep there on top. Looks like he was happy. Looks like we had some the red-blue dual land. We also had another land that looked like a spell, so obviously he's happy with that, keeping his lands up. We see a Birchlaw Ranger on turn 1 here for the Elf deck, the island off the top, so deciding not to keep the dual land. It's very interesting.
Hoping to get off to a slightly faster start, which against Elves I think he's absolutely going to need.
He actually drew it, so that's where the dual land was.
Yes.
So it's the blue and a red, when it enters the battlefield tapped, gain a life.
Yep.
Which is never absolutely. A bad thing.
These came out of Khan's block and are still excellent in this format.
Yes. Like gaining life and just being able to hit all your colours does seem like a very beneficial thing to do.
And there is the Elvish Vanguard, I believe? No. Elite.
Elvish Elite. So Bearing in mind, I'm still learning my way through it.
No, Vanguard.
Elvish Vanguard. So Elvish Vanguard, whenever another elf enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on Elvish Vanguard.
Sorry, I'm so used to the Merfolk Elite of the new set that puts +1/+1 counters on things.
But we're going to see an instant flip here from the Delver of Secrets. Exactly what he's looking for, as we see, looks like a Flame Slash,
yeah,
the
absolutely.
draw, which is fantastic there. It's a very quick way of instantly answering this Vanguard, which will probably very quickly get out of control.
Absolutely.
Let's get it in and out off the battlefield. We see an Ash Barons as well in hand, a Lightning Bolt, a Fairy Miscreant, and, well, the other blue card you might have to tell me about.
Which one is that? Oh, is that the Ninja of the Deep Hours? Now, Ninja of the Deep Hours is an absolutely amazing magic card. Opting to not use the Flame Slash there on the Elvish Vanguard.
Maybe he's waiting to use the Lightning Bolt instead.
I mean, the Lightning Bolt in response is absolutely fine also. So
you can also let him play an elf spell and maybe play another one, see what he's doing. You have a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's only a 2/2 at the moment. And the elf deck, yes, it has some pump spells, which you might have to be careful of, and which is why you might do it instantly.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to risk your opponent going, actually, I'd just like to protect my guy from your removal spell, and maybe getting rid of it straight away would have been the best thing. So we can see an attack for
this represents a counter spell, which is, I think, something that an elf opponent will very much consider, especially one that's mulligan.
We're actually talking about factual counter spell, blue counter target spell, because that is a common. But we're going to see a.
That looks like a.
Let's go through the list of things we play.
Priest of Titania.
Priest of Titania. We're looking at add 1 green to your mana pool for each elf on the battlefield, 2 mana, 1/1, and we see a Nettle Sentinel. However, in response, this is still on stack. We are going to bolt.
Yeah.
We're going to lightning bolt your Vanguard.
Yep.
Yeah. Nice clean answer.
Absolutely.
Adam's still at high life total. You can afford to take 2 points of damage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something that you're not worried about quite yet.
So the ninja, as I was talking about, now this is a Kamigawa block, amazingly as a ninja.
Yeah. One of the only sets which had them fully in as a proper thing. We've seen it in Unstable.
Yeah.
We had I can't remember what was the card now. Master Ninja, was it? Where it was in your hand on the battlefield for 3 mana. It was great. Yeah. Wonderful card.
But the Ninja of the Deep Hours is an excellent card in this deck. It allows you to attack if your creatures go unblocked, and obviously you've got a lot of flyers, which means that often they will just go unblocked naturally. You can pay a 1 and a blue, and you can bounce the creature that is unblocked back to your hand and put in its place the Ninja tapped and attacking. The Ninja obviously slightly more power than, say, a Fairy Miscreant, and also when it connects, draws you a card.
Yes.
It can be used in multiple different ways, actually, as counter to removal spells. If your opponent attempts to point removal at an attacker, it can also be used simply as a way of putting back in your hand a Fairy Miscreant.
So we're going to see the Ninja of the Deep Hours in, replacing the Fairy Miscreant. That's be down into 5 points of damage. Obviously, the Ninja of the Deep Hours 2/2.
Yep.
It's a 4 mana 2/2, so on the surface, pretty bad.
A little bit.
However, the 1 and a blue ability, we're going to Flame Slash, get rid of the Priest of Titania. Let's not have our elf opponent have as much mana as they could possibly want.
Yeah.
We all know what Gaia's Cradle does in Legacy.
That was Gaia's Cradle on legs.
Yeah, let's not repeat that in this format as well. But he's only got 2 cards left in hand for Alex. Adam's got a few cards in hand. Nothing really amazing. He's a Fairy Miscreant, a Delver of Secrets, and the Islands and a Mountain still in hand. So plenty of lands. We're going to see Call the Stampede here for Alex. That is a huge draw.
That is a big deal in this particular instance.
Call of the Stampede. What does it do?
Now you're testing me, aren't you?
Really? 2 green, look at the top 5 cards of the library, take all elves from them. I even know that because it's played in Modern.
Okay.
But we see a Lisa Lana Huntmaster, looks like a Llanowar Elves and a Nettle Sentinel as well. So that's quite a few cards to hit, and we see the Nettle Sentinel. So we could see another Nettle Sentinel enter the battlefield this turn, and the Llanowar Elves as well, because, well, that's how Magic works, as it turns out. Tap 2, for Virtual Ranger, it's tap 2 and make a mana.
Yep.
So we're going to untap the Nettle Sentinel. That Call to Stampede was a huge draw at that point in the game. Exactly what he needs. Now, do you now make the Llanowar Elves as well, or do you hold that for the next turn? Maybe if you land a Lisa Lana Huntmaster.
You hold back for the Lisa Lana Huntmaster. You're okay to have 1 mana dock less this turn to be able to start going off with 1/1 tokens.
Yes.
That's personally my line on this situation. But yeah.
I mean, Lisa Lana Huntmaster, the 2 green 3/3. Whenever you play an elf spell, make a 1/1.
Yeah.
Elf,
and again,
really good.
It's on theme. It means that you get to It triggers your Vanguard. It can be used as part of the Priest, as we see.
I think what we've just seen Adam draw is probably what I would describe as like your format, your Pauper card that everyone knows about.
Gush.
Oh, he's too good at this game. Too good at this game. So what we're going to do, we're going to put Gush into our little system we have here. And hopefully...
Yeah,
there we go. We have a Gush. So for those of you who don't know, it's a 4 and a blue instant. Draw 2 cards. However, as with a lot of cards in Magic, you have an alternative casting cost of you may return 2 islands to two islands you control to their owner's hand rather than pay Gush's mana cost. Draw 2 cards at instant speed. It's quite good.
Free mana, draw 2 cards. Also, put 2 other cards back in your hand. Very good against hand attack that just forces you to discard.
Yep. And obviously Gush something we see in Vintage as much as Pauper.
Yeah.
So, and attack in with the Nettle Sentinel. Yep. Okay, I'll take 2. I mean, Alex's life total is under quite a lot of duress at the moment. It was a fantastic one where he picked up all those cards. We are going to see the Lysalana Huntmaster this turn, but it will allow him to make a 1/1, but that Delver of Secrets is doing a lot of work at the moment.
That Delver has been going to town.
The Insectile Aberration is doing a lot of work at the moment.
The Delver is just a 1/1.
Which
just a foolish human who dabbled in things he shouldn't.
He shouldn't be dabbling in. Yes. In fact, let's. It depends on what actually is the. It goes. Unfortunately, all my test animals have died or escaped, so I shall be the final subject. I feel no fear. This is a momentous night. And then he turned into the Insectile Aberration and then beat people in the face many times in many different formats. Vintage All-Star, Vintage, Legacy and Pauper All-Star. Decks named after this card itself. Love that.
Yeah.
We're going to see an end-step Gush here. And he is going to use the alternate cost, putting 2 islands back in his hand to draw 2 cards. See a land and another Flame Slash. Fantastic time to draw that card before the Lysalana Huntmaster gets out of control. We're going to see the Delver. Does it flip? We're going to reveal the top card. It is a Preordain?
Preordain. You are correct. Apologies. It's the dual deck Preordain.
Yeah. Turns out when you play quite a lot of Legacy, you do start to see cards like this. But yes, looks like a Preordain off the top there. And we're going to see an attack for 6.
Do you know if Adam had a bolt in hand by any chance?
No, he had a Flame Slash. There's no bolt in hand, but he could search for a bolt now, and I like doing that straight away. There's no point wasting our time. We're going to see what looks like the Preordain here from Adam. He's going to scry 2. That is a Augur Bolas and looks like a Spellstutter Sprite. I think I might keep the Augur. It digs you another 3 cards.
Yeah, absolutely.
I may not keep the Spellstutter.
I would probably bottom the Spellstutter. Yeah,
I don't think we're winning that game.
No, I think realistically...
And an island off the...
Wait, no.
He may have already had the island, but let's see. So we're gonna make the Flame Slash to kill the Lysalana Huntmaster.
Yeah.
Deals 4 damage to target creature. Sorcery, 1 red mana, which is always good. And we have the Spellstutter Sprite in hand, ready to go. Obviously, quite good against
I mean,
Elves
obviously
decks.
he did have a lot of islands in hand. He put 2 back in his hand.
So we're going to see a pass the turn back here. 2 cards in hand for Alex, and at 3 life he needs to find some way of either winning the game this turn. Nope, he's had enough.
Okay.
Can't beat the Delvers, can't beat the Insectile Aberrations. Game 1 to the blue-red Delver deck.
Not the way I thought that was going to go.
Not a bad mulligan though.
No, absolutely not. And obviously managing to draw 3 elves off of the...
That was, and one of them was a Lysalana Huntmaster, which was the biggest payoff of the lot. Absolutely. Now, obviously onto sideboard, we can only maybe assume what they're bringing in, but let's look at what with Ace...
We can actually see a fair amount Electricity straight in.
Yes, so
just instantly in.
The sort of cards that you're looking at, you've got Dispels, you have Electricaries, which I do need to remember is the Overload card, of course. We have Gorilla Shaman, which has probably not in this matchup because destroy target non-creature artifact with conveying my cost X.
There's only a Viridian Bow, and that's it. And
it's not really what you're looking for. Hydroblast, not for this matchup.
No.
Pyroblast, also again, not for this matchup. Relic of Progenitus,
no.
And depending on what he else has in the sideboard. But we see he's got a few cards, so obviously he's got a few more things to come in. But
that was a Swirling Sands, I believe, or a Swirling Sandstorm.
Okay, so let us try and find our Swirling... Ooh, if I can spell, that's always good. Swirling Sand. Let's put that in and see what this comes up with. Let's save this and see what the card generator decides we meant today.
So... The spell that I am referencing is...
Oh, I came up with it. There we go.
This is 3 and a red for a sorcery. That, unless you have Threshold, does literally nothing. But if you do have Threshold, it deals 5 damage to each creature without flying.
And let's be honest, a Delver deck, probably going to have 7 cards in its library to trigger the threshold.
Oh, you do it on turn 3. It's easy.
Yeah, and that's probably going to pretty much wipe any elf board. Now, if we obviously go to the other side of it, we're looking at Essence Wardens, Relic of Progenitus, Gleeful Sabotage. I like the Relic, though. I like the Relic against it's against a graveyard deck.
If you understand the Sandstorm, that might be a good sort of counter sideboard, but it's very niche, and I wouldn't really consider it.
Yeah. We also have Mob Justice, depending on if you have the red mana or if you are just in... Well, I suppose you can make the red mana off of
Rangers.
Yes, because it makes 1 colour of any mana.
Yeah.
We have Moment's Peace, prevent all damage that be dealt this turn with flashback.
Well-Wisher.
But I think the Well-Wisher is something you'd be more interested in. You gain 1 life for each elf in play.
I think you're probably looking at slightly more life gain in Essence Warden, Well-Wisher. You might...
Spider Silk Armor.
Spider Silk Armor.
Again, another way of blocking. And probably the one you are going to bring in is the Penumbra Spider.
Yeah.
If you have it in your sideboard, 2 green, 2/4 with reach. Fantastic against the Delver decks. And if it does die, you get it again as a token. As a black spider this time with reach. So there's some of the options we're looking at. Again, we don't know the player's exact sideboards. We can only go with what is would be seen as on the Magic Online circuit, what people are normally playing. Obviously, things like Swirling Sandstorm are something that people have a bit more of an affinity to if they decide they want to play it. They might play it as a card they like.
Yeah.
Or they've had good results with it, and you just have to wait and see what they decide to do. But Alex is going to be on the play, see if he can keep a slightly better hand this time.
Let's hope for a 7. Hopefully we'll have 2 7s. We'll have a good game 2, and maybe we'll even get game 3 in. But if I have to think that if Adam hits the Swirling Sandstorm, then that's kind of got to be game, right?
It'd be pretty good. It depends upon how all-in Alex has already gone on board, and then you feel that he has to go an element of all-in on board because of the matchup he's playing. He has to put enough pressure on board to win through Lightning Bolts, to win through Flame Slashes, and to also win through the clock that
is Delver.
Adam still puts on. And it's astonishing the threat that it's still going to be. We see an Electric already in hand, we see a counter spell, we see a Preordain, we see an Island, a Flame Slash.
I think it's
pretty good
hand.
And it depends what the last card is. I can't quite tell you what the last card is. Looks like a colourless card of some description.
Maybe an Ash Barrens.
Maybe an Ash Barrens. And if that is an Ash Barrens, you've got a pretty good hand. But an Elvish Mystic to start here for the elf player.
Turn 1 mana
you want
for elves. That seems perfect.
See a draw the turn. We see a Delver of Secrets, the first draw step.
That might be play 1.
Yep.
Delver.
And we're going. No, we're going for Preordain instead. Maybe he's looking for his second land. There's definitely an Ash Baron there.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's going to keep both of them. Draw 1. So obviously Preordain 1, a blue mana. Scry 2, draw 1. The pretty much the polar opposite of Serum Visions, which is draw then scry. So it definitely sees a lot more play because actually the scryability first is much more important than the scryability second, because in the formats where it's good, like Legacy, the cards are of such high value and high quality, you don't want to be risking drawing them the following turn. You want them that turn. Say you're looking for a Force of Will and there's one in the top 2 cards, you'd rather have it that turn than have to wait another turn for it down the line.
There are also far fewer combo decks that are trying to set up big turns where they just go through their entire libraries or anything like that. So
exactly, you have a bit more time. So we're going to see an attack for 1. An attack for 1. The beatdown has begun.
Beats.
We see Adam at down to 19. We see a Birchlaw Ranger here as the turn 2 play. They have another, and we're going to see a Quinarian Ranger. Tap again, and Nettle Sentinel. That is a really impressive turn there for the Elves.
That's
a lot of power.
Turn 2. That is amazing.
We see a Gush off the top. Going to need a decent draw here. What have you got in your hand, Adam, right now? We're going to see a... Oh, he's got a... Looks like is it Guildgate?
Yeah, it does actually, which is
fine.
Yeah, it's interesting to see these be run, actually. Most people would consider these to be very much a backup land. You'd much rather play the bounce lands and the gain life lands.
So the Is It Boiler works?
Yes, exactly. Okay. But you are obviously losing some amount of tempo by bouncing a land back to your hand if you've got nothing to do with it.
But when you're playing a deck with 1 mana spells...
Yeah, normally you're fine.
And also we might be overloading the Electricary next turn.
Well, I mean, that's also quite possible.
It's also quite good, I believe, is the word you're looking for, sir.
I'm intrigued as to why Adam did not play out...
The Delver?
The Delver.
Yeah, unless he is repping the Vapor Snag to his opponent. But again, if you're an elf deck, you don't really care about a Vapor Snag. You just replay the spell anyway. Yeah. And even if it does it in the end step, you can use that turn to make whatever you want. So I think we see an attack here for 5 points of damage from the elf deck. Maybe use the Quirion Ranger, maybe keep that back, and then looking to go back the other way.
So our elf player, just considering their options here, I would imagine it is the fear of something like Electricary that's keeping Alex from just going all in on this board.
You're playing an elf deck, though. Can you play around Electricary?
Not go all in? Yeah.
I mean, it is a question.
That is legitimately the question. Can you afford to? And okay, so we're going in for beats for free here.
Yep, so we're in for 3 Quirion Ranger and Nettle Sentinel, which is interesting. I might have just sent in everyone. If you are worried about Electrickery, you really want to make the most of what you have. Unless he's going to be able to play
I mean, this is we need a mana dork sort of turn. I imagine that was what the time spent was. It was, how am I keeping up as much mana as possible? But it doesn't look like an Alyssa Huntmaster or an Elvish Vanguard this turn, in fact, because he's played out the Llanowar Elves first.
Now, we can see him play Distant Melody this turn, with the Quirion Ranger being able to return a forest, which allows him another land drop, which he hasn't actually used yet. So we're going to see Quirion Ranger here, which is, again, another reason to go all in, because you're about to draw 5 cards.
Absolutely.
For 4 mana.
The deck surprisingly reloads really quickly.
So for those of you who don't know, Distant Melody, it is a 3 and a blue sorcery. Choose a creature type, draw a card for each permanent you control of that type. And we see there 5 cards being drawn here. Alex able to fully reload. So this Electrickery will be pretty good, but maybe not that good.
No, absolutely. You've got a 2 toughness creature, and you've got a ton of cards in hand.
Yeah. Obviously, the one you're really looking for to follow this up is sort of like a Dork, a land, and an Elvish Visionary or something like that to just keep it going. And we're going to see, looks like the Viridian Longbow coming into play. So Viridian Longbow is a 1 mana artifact. Equipped creature has tapped. This creature deals 1 damage to target creature or player. Equipped for 3 mana. So why is this card in this deck?
This matchup.
Okay.
Starts blowing away Delvers, Fairies, left, right, and centre, and the fact that it...
The mirror.
Yeah, well, and the mirror, yes.
We can see overloaded Electrickery
there. That was an Ash Barrens in hand. I'm a little bit confused as to why we didn't see a cycle on that to go and get an actual coloured land. I'm sure that was an Ash Barrens in hand.
There's definitely a colourless card hanging out at the back of Adam's hand at the moment. Maybe a bit of a small misplay.
Maybe.
But we still see the Nettle Sentinel surviving, and we're going to see a pass back of the turn. No land drop here for Adam, but definitely had to use Electrickery, and unfortunately that Distant Melody, well, that Electrickery definitely looks a lot worse than it would normally. We see 2 mana in play.
But it's keeping Adam from being under too much pressure.
That is true.
That's the game plan here. You wanna not be under too much pressure constantly.
And we're going to see a Priest of Titania to follow up. I don't think that one's long for this world. But we do see an untap of the Nettle Sentinel, a pass back of the turn. I think Alex needs to find some dorks really more than anything else. We see the Swirling Sandstorm off the top. Probably use the Ash Barrens this turn, because you have a pair of Flame Slashes here to be used.
There is an argument for holding it for things like Delver triggers.
So in fact, he's actually going to... so we might see a double removal spell turn here, if that is an Ash Barrens at the back of the hand.
Looks like
yes, it is. We're going to basic land cycle with the Ash Barrens, which is interesting that we didn't see this last turn. And he's getting an island. Interesting.
So there are 2 factors here. One, you want to leave more lands in your deck so that you have more chance of drawing them, because you're still a little land light. You'd quite like maybe 4 lands in this matchup. The other option is that Adam was setting up for holding it in case he managed to get Ponders and wanted, say, 1 or 2 of the cards.
Or a Brainstorm.
Or maybe he plays Brainstorm. I haven't seen any, but
if he does, then obviously it's another way of shuffling your deck to have the perfect Brainstorm.
And obviously you can do it in response to a Delver trigger. You can look at the top card.
Yes, that is true.
That's useless. We'll cycle in response before I draw. Which it's just more card filtering. But
it's going to make 1 mana here. 3 moment tap. We might have a Lead the Stampede, and it looks like there's another one in hand as well. So this could be a couple of big turns here for Alex if he can find a decent number of Elves off the top. But we see 4 cards already in the graveyard.
He's currently tapped out of mana, and he's only got the land drop for the turn.
That's a pretty good one. That is 4 Elves.
Very good one. But I'm worried that his hand is just full of Elves he now cannot cast.
Well, he will be able to put a lot of them onto the table next turn. Look like there was a Well-Wisher in hand as well. Like, if he gets to untap with this, with the Priest of Titania, obviously it allows him to just unload his hand. But again, he needs to be able to get to that turn without something happening to the Priest. And this is where maybe if you had a hand of a couple of 1-drops, you do that first and then you activate Priests. But obviously he didn't have any more 1-mana Elves. But we'll see, we're going to see a discard card here. Looks like it was a Well-Wisher, possibly.
No. I think that was a spell. That might have been a land grant. No? No, not even remotely.
Shows how much we know about this format.
I mean, it's possible that it's just a different art on a card that I don't know, but it's also possible that it's a card that is not anywhere near this deck normally.
Yeah, so we see a number of cards there. It looks like there's a...
Wait, it might have been Luminescent Rain. Luminescent Rain,
looks
possibly,
like
in the
there's
graveyard?
2 of them, possibly. And we're going to see a Ninja of the Deep Hours here. And we're going to see a 2 points of damage attack for Adam drawing the card. Look like another one.
Another Delver, which is unfortunate because he's returning an unflipped Delver to hand. He's Delver flooded at the moment, which is normally not a problem.
No,
but
we're going to see Gush here.
Okay.
So he's going to be able to make another land drop. We can see another Delver, and we can see Counterspell off the top. So I think we make a land. Do you make 2 Delvers this turn if you have 2 of them?
We've got too many cards in hand. I think we have to.
Yeah, you don't really hold up the... Like, you've got a pair of Delvers. You just go, oh, okay, I'd like to make these 2 Delvers. I'd like to put some power into play because you do run the risk. Again, it's this risk of do you... I think he's going with the safe play here of discarding some of those cards, but then I'd have
and holding
possibly...
up Counterspell.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's fine because he has the Delver still, but I would be very much more on the line of I have to threaten you with something, I have to make you do things.
At the moment, he's not doing a lot.
Obviously, the Viridian Longbow kind of shuts that plan down to a certain amount, so...
We see Nettle Sentinel here. We see a Birchlaw Rangers as well. We see a Llanowar Elves. We have 3 mana this turn. We have 4 mana available with Titania's Priest now. We could tap and make another elf and another elf after that. Yes, we're going to see 2 mana being tapped. We're going to see the Llanowar Elves into play. We're going to see an untap of the Nettle Sentinel. We could go for this again. Obviously, this is playing a little bit into the Sandstorm, but then we're not really near that yet.
No.
Multiple turns away. We're going to see a Quirion Ranger here.
The Gush has obviously put us off tempo here as the Delver deck. This means that...
See another untap trigger on the Nettle Sentinel.
Yeah, loving
going off,
this.
as they say.
This is
That is awesome. A lot of elves. Now, bearing in mind, there was a
very severe shame that there isn't a Lord or a Vanguard or a
Craterhoof Behemoth
or a Lissalana Huntmaster in play
or a Craterhoof. Oh no, that's not allowed in this format.
Really not allowed.
It's not allowed.
Sorry, Josh.
Or a natural order to go and find it. What a shame. What format are we playing? So 5 mana being created here now by Titania's Priest. We have 6 available if we want to use the the Quirion Ranger and the Nettle Sentinel, but we see a Lead the Stampede, which I think you just fire off again.
Yep.
You've got 3 mana left over, and you have 4.
This has to be the Counterspell target.
Yes, it is the Counterspell. Let's not let you have that spell.
So you've still got 3 mana floating as the elf player.
And you could just make, you could return 1 to make 4.
Yeah.
I think this might be Lissalana Huntmaster coming down this turn.
Yep. I think that is entirely the game plan here.
Yeah. And we're gonna. Oh wow. We're gonna untap Titania's Priest as well.
Yeah. Okay. We have
pretty
a lot
good.
of mana.
We have a lot of mana. And it looks like we have a Timberwatch Elf in hand as well.
Which can be excellent at allowing you to break through board stalls.
Timberwatch Elf, 3 mana, 1/2, tap, target creature gets +X/+X, where until end of turn where X number of elves in play. That's quite a few. And now we're going to be making another 6 mana here. Timberwatch Elf. 1 word.
Right.
The old joy of we have to do all this ourselves. We don't have anyone to type this in for us.
And there is another Call the Stampede.
Wow, so that's 3 of them this turn. That's pretty good. So we're gonna have a look at the top. We're gonna see actually there's another caller there. He only finds 3 elves. That's the whole terrible news, I guess.
What a shame that is.
What a shame. Bear in mind we still have 3 mana floating, so if there is any sort of good draw here, we shall soon find out.
Don't we have 6 mana floating because we had 3 floating?
Oh yeah.
Then we untapped the priest and then we
made more. Then we had the Timberwatch Elf. Obviously, he's playing a little bit into the electricity here, but he's still going to have things around afterwards. He still has the Timberwatch Elf. He still has the Nettle Sentinel alive. It's not like he's losing his entire board.
And
if his opponent
amazingly,
does
actually, as long as he doesn't use the Timberwatch Elf next turn, if he doesn't go all in on the attack, which is unlikely, it has to be said, because I think that's probably...
Oh, wow. So 4 mana, the Penumbra Spider appears.
Coming in.
And untap again. Because it is a green spell. And green spells untap the Nettle Sentinel. We're going to tap again. And we're going to make another Birchlaw Ranger. The Elf deck has fully gone off this turn, as they say. And the Penumbra Spider is a really nice insurance policy against the swirling sandstorm, let's be honest.
Yeah,
It allows you
absolutely.
to play a game where you aren't absolutely mown down by that, because it does replace itself, produces another 2/4 with reach, and things looking pretty bad on the side of Adam right now. That Ninja the D-pad's probably not going to be doing much apart from blocking.
Look at that board.
That's
Look at the
huge.
size of that board. I had to
We're gonna
warn
see.
them about the size of their boards before we started because I knew what Elves can do.
Yeah.
Now, it has to be said, I don't know if Alex knew it. I knew that Adam had the Swirling Sandstorm in hand.
See
But he
lightning
has
bolts.
played perfectly into
Yes.
this. He's just gone, oh, you're back on 2 mana, let's just go off.
Yeah.
Because
He's got
Electricity
time.
does not completely kill me, and you've already cast one. Most of these decks tend to run 2.
So draw for the turn. The lightning bolt taking down Priest of Titania, obviously removing a power, but mainly the mana generation that
Yeah.
card brings. However, I think right now you have plenty of mana, and I think you have plenty of things in play to just start attacking.
I think you can turn everything sideways and then Timberwatch Elf to give something massive.
Yeah, and probably just try and kill Adam.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 power on the board, I believe, at the moment. Sorry, 9 power on the board at the moment, with the possibility of pumping a creature plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Now,
That's 6.
I think you just attack and point whatever isn't blocked
Isn't
with the
blocked,
power.
yeah.
Like Ninja's going to block a 1/1, fine, let the 1/1 die, but I think you just
Okay,
mow things down.
we've put a Viridian Longbow on things.
So it deals 1 damage to the Ninja.
Yep. And now we're going to tap to make some mana,
wow.
untap the Nettle Sentinel.
Yep, make a Quirion Ranger, untap the Nettle Sentinel. The combo, the Wombo combo. And we see Ninja the D-Power hit the bin. If we have another spell, well, we could make the Priest as well. And we could just attack with a huge board instead.
Alex needs to get his damage in now because next turn he will not have the option. There will be no option on that.
So it was interesting.
damage.
He had a counter spell and he didn't counter the Quirion Ranger, but then against a cast,
Yeah, it's a cast
trigger on the
Quirion Ranger itself is.
You've got doubles now, so you might be scared of something else coming down afterwards. But this is a lot of damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage through at the moment. Obviously going to give something 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus 7 plus 7 to the Penumbra Spiders. That's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I believe that is
should be
exactly lethal
exactsies.
damage coming across here from the Elf deck. Alex doing his double checks, but I think that's lethal damage. And with double blue, not going to do enough.
Elves.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7 elves.
Yeah.
So that's a 9 power Penumbra Spider.
Are we
9,
counting?
10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Plus 7.
Plus 7. Yeah. That
Oh.
feels like lethal.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
I'm pretty certain
We
Adam
know
should
not.
be dead. Oh, never mind.
Or it just goes to untap and kill him.
Yeah,
Yep,
okay,
done.
fine. I mean,
But that was but it was 14 without the Nettle Sentinel.
yeah, I thought it was.
Hmm.
Okay. Either we're,
Oh, well.
we're miscounting something.
On to
or
the next one, as they
miscounting
say.
something. Yeah, absolutely. Game 3. We get game 3.
Game 1 works the way you hope it did.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think, I think we see the power of what Elves wants to do.
That was, with no mulligan there, we got to see actually what the deck
Yeah,
wanted to do.
and-
Even through an Electrickery, which is
Yes.
theoretically a very powerful card.
Through an
in matchup.
Electrickery, the main thing being that I think Adam was a little bit too conservative.
Yes.
Here's a really interesting one for you. In my mind, I'd have boarded out all 4 of those counter spells.
Yeah, the deck, the elf deck gets on the.
Look what the elf did.
Fast. Yeah. Yeah.
Look
No.
what the Elf deck did before you even had a chance to do anything. And this is why, even though I'm not too au fait with the format, even against Elves in sort of Legacy, like you don't keep in some of your counter spells. Like you board out some of your force. Like depending on what type of deck you're playing, you'll sometimes board out, say, a Spell Pierce, or you'll board out some of your Daisies, because the deck very rarely plays into that.
That's absolutely true, and I think probably Adam's thinking was that he wanted to stop the elf deck from being able to reload.
Yeah.
But
If you're already behind on board,
this is it.
how are you winning in the game?
The elf reloads are Distant Melody and then
Lead the Stampede.
The Stampede, and if they've led the Stampede, then maybe they don't have anything on board if you're doing your job
Yeah.
properly. But if they've Distant Melodied, if they've already got a board, you're dead. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
I mean, the biggest concern I have for the Delver deck in this game is that if it does allow Alex to assemble any form of power level, he's just going to run him over, Swelling Sandstorm or not. Now, with things like Counterspell, yes, it's great. I counterspelled his Lead the Stampede, and look what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to be boarding in your mass removal spells because it's probably just more efficient to spend 2 mana to Electricity the board.
Yeah. And then try and get on the board and be aggressive yourself. There are very few ways in the Elf deck, apart from obviously Viridian Longbow and possibly Spider Silk Armor if we've seen it come in. I kind of feel like we have to. Of actually dealing with the Delver of Secrets, right? So once it's flipped.
Yes.
So that should be your game plan. You're trying to get on the board and then protect your threats, which is what Delver normally does. It's a fish deck. That's the game plan. Be on the board, be killing your opponent.
Yeah, and I think that's the challenge that Adam has. We can see Alex taking a mulligan down to 6.
I think Adam... Okay, no, Adam's not joined him. Adam's kept, but I can't see any lands in that hand.
Well, we'll soon find out.
Maybe there's one towards the back and I'm missing it.
Yeah. Adam has done a very good job today of keeping his cards very close to his chest and not letting us see them, but it looks like there is some lands in there somewhere.
Yeah, no, there is. I think it might be just a straight island at the back there.
Which should be pretty good. Yeah, it looks like there's an island at the back and maybe an Ash Barrens there as well, which is obviously a good turn 2 play to find your second land, but I think the turn 1 Delver might be a good place to start. You need to get something into play. And also, he's always started on a draw spell, which I can understand, but at the same time, I'm just interested in getting my Delver into play, because then you're not tapping out on turn 2 to do something else. Maybe let's try and see what happens this game.
So, both decks have done what they wanted to do once now.
Yes. Well,
we've seen...
Well, I'm not...
You're not convinced that the Delver deck has done what it wanted to do?
I think Game 2, the Delver deck could have done what it wanted to do.
Yes.
Had it maybe have not had... Adam have maybe taken the line of I'm not just going to hold up my counter spells all the time and actually try to be more proactive. He had multiple Delvers which he could have deployed, and if they flip, they are incredibly good blockers.
Yeah, actually.
A 3/2 is bigger than a 1/1.
Math.
Yeah, I can do math. But it's at the same time, if you're not doing anything, he's got a Ninja of the Deep Powers as his turn 2 play. It looks like he also has an Is It Guild Gate as well.
But it looks like he's got tapped lands for turn 2, so that if he doesn't draw an untapped land...
He has a Preordain, which is fine. Oh, nice draw step there.
Land.
Yep. It's a pretty good draw there. And we see a Preordain as well. Looks like we're going to attack for 1.
Okay, no Ninja this turn.
No, I think he's going for the tap land, Preordain tap land play.
Okay.
So we're going to see Preordain here from Adam. Looks like there was a lightning bolt in one of those 2 cards. I saw a flash of red. I'll tell you what, if it's a red spell, I'm just keeping it on top. Don't get me wrong, that's going straight back on top.
This is what the cost in mana base picks up. You get a lot more play in those red cards than you would in a mono blue deck against things like Elves.
We see a lightning bolt was the draw for the turn. Spell Stutter Sprite Ninja the Deep Powers, 2 more lands, and the lightning bolt which he found. And the lightning bolt, if Alex does resolve a relevant spell, I can see that bolt just removing it straight away and continuing the attack with a Ninja of the Deep Powers in play as well.
Yeah. That's absolutely probably going to be the game plan here, because the Delver deck doesn't actually normally draw that well. It's only got the Ninja and Gush as card draw. Most of the time it's filtering, it's cantripping, but it spends a lot of mana doing that.
Yeah. And here we see Aquarian Ranger. We're going to use the ability to bounce the forest, remake the forest, untap the elf. So we're back up to 3 mana. We're back up to 3 mana because we obviously floated a green. So we have 3 mana available with 4 is this turn for the elf deck. Looks like we've got to lead the Stampede in hand, which may be where he goes as the start of this turn. I think that lightning bolt may be taking out that rain.
It's not a high value target.
It's not a high value target. That Elvish Mystic's
allows the deck to just go off.
But the thing is, do you not maybe think the Elvish Mystic's a higher priority? It makes more mana. You are running. You have 1, and if you don't play another land this turn, we see a Vanguard here. That might be more of a target. We're going to see a mana here. We're going to see a Llanowar Elves into play. We're going to trigger, make it into a 2/2. Yep, that's fine. Can't do a lot about that right now. And this board's starting to fill up quite nicely.
Yes.
Here for Alex. We see an untap here. Fairy Miscreant also does block quite well, as it turns out. We've seen Ash Barrens off the top there for Adam. I think this Lightning Bolt may be taking out that Vanguard. Right now, I would not like to run the risk of saying, okay, you can untap. But I think the Miscreant into the Ninja is a good place to start. Play that island, get an extra card, see what we are working with. Also making a 2/2 isn't irrelevant. You have to play the land first.
You have to play the land first. You need to hold up that Lightning Bolt.
He may have just moved past combat instead.
Okay, I mean that's. If
Still, I can understand why he's going to pass because he has spell
go
stuff
to
to sprite.
combat and you then suddenly realise that you need to play the land.
Yeah.
That's
It's fine. You
that's
can just
fine.
say no. I'm gonna go past combat. I don't want to do it this turn. You can go again.
Yeah.
But obviously we now have spell stutter sprite plus lightning bolt, which is
So
pretty good.
Spell stutter sprite plus the
And this spell
fairy
stutter sprite is going to be very good. I think the spell stutter sprite is going to be huge.
going to counter this Elvish Visionary.
Yes.
Actually, I'd be very happy with that get.
So spell stutter sprite. Let's pull it up for the viewers at home.
This is a very interesting card from, I believe, Lorwyn originally. And it is 1 and a blue for a 1/1 flyer with flash, and when it enters the battlefield you get a trigger that allows you to counter a spell with converted mana cost X or less. Where
and it is X or less, so it is important.
Yes, where X is the number of fairies you control. Currently, obviously, Adam controls 2 fairies.
3 mana here. We're going to call lead the Stampede here. I think we might slam that lightning bolt. Well, we can do it on the end step. You can do it whenever you need to.
We can wait.
Obviously, spell stutter sprite, quite a good target for this ninja of the deep hours.
Absolutely, that was the other thing I was going to say. Ninja can bounce your utility creatures back to hand. So Augur of Boros, so that you can go looking for creatures.
So we have Priest of Titania ×2, and a card that I still cannot work out what it is.
Well, it must be a creature.
It's definitely a creature. What does it look like any of these? I think it might be a Well-Wisher. I really do. Because I would not have a clue what else it is as a creature.
Here's the question: do you land cycle?
Oh,
because you've seen it's an end step. You've seen no more elves. You don't need to worry about the elves.
And also, the Vanguard didn't attack.
Very interesting.
Protecting
it against the double block.
The thing is, I probably don't mind trading at that point. Like, you take 2 of your opponent's creatures out the game.
Yeah.
Is that a downside? Probably not. This might come back to hurt him now.
Yeah.
But we shall soon see. We have an untap here. We have a draw for the turn. We have a ponder off the top, the signed one.
The signed one.
And the mountain into play. Now, do you ninja or not to ninja?
I always want a ninja.
Now, actually, the interesting one this time is you do the Fairy Miscreant, which actually I think is the best play because it's a 1-mana spell. So you can ninja, replay the Fairy, replay the Miscreant, and also hold up Lightning Bolt.
But you've got Ponder in hand, so I'd
rather
bounce the Spell Stutter Sprite.
And Ponder instead.
Well, actually,
bounce
Spell Stutter Sprite, hold up Spell Stutter Sprite.
Yeah.
A lot of the spells in Alex's deck are going to be 1 or 2 mana.
Are we going just for an attack for 2? Actually, we're not. We're not going to ninja this turn.
We're
we see a
ninjaing.
Ponder here. We see a Preordain. We see an Electrickery. Oh, hello, sir.
Seems good.
Hello. That would wipe the board.
Yep.
And I am quite willing to do that this turn. I'm going to put those cards back on top. I'm going to draw that Electrickery.
Plus the bolt, obviously.
I'm going to lightning bolt your Vanguard, and I'm going to blow your board up.
Yep.
However, it's going to allow him to untap, which is fine.
Which is fine because both are obviously instants. Yes. We can do this on our opponent's turn.
Because I was bearing in mind, we're only playing with Korean Ranger. We're not playing with Wildwood Symbiote, which is a bounce and elf. So we're not playing with that version. We don't have the Wildwood Symbiote, which is the protection to. It is an uncommon. So obviously, I appreciate that.
Okay, so this is spell on the stack. You can actually let this trigger resolve.
Yep.
Because
it's only a 3/3.
This is only going to be a 3/3, which means that your bolt plus Electrickery still kills it. You can actually let the next elf resolve.
I think you kill it with it on the stack.
No, you don't, because you're going to go Electrickery bolt. You're dealing 4 damage to the Vanguard, and you get to kill if it's a 1/1. You know, if it's a 2/2,
you see what he's playing.
Yes.
But you can still kill it in response to the spell, and we're going to see. Yeah, I think we're I think you've got to do it in response.
Blowout.
I think in response you bolt this. You don't want to give him the chance to use the pump spell if he has anything. Obviously, they normally don't run pump spells, but you don't want to run that risk.
No.
Do it while he has the minimal amount of mana untapped.
Yep.
But I think the end step's going to be pretty good. So he's going to Quirion Ranger, tap 2 mana, and we're going to. I do not know what that card is.
No.
Looks like.
That is the pump spell, though, that we were talking about.
Do we know what pump spell it is?
Not a clue.
Not a foggy?
No.
Oh, we might have to go searching through some other deck lists online today.
Absolutely.
Well, you keep an eye on that. I'm gonna.
So we're seeing an attack here from the elf player, obviously trying to get that damage in. End step, we're going to see an overload electric.
Wrap in vigor. Regenerate each creature you control.
Get a judge over there, because they still have their regeneration shield.
Intent would have been do it in response.
But he didn't. He did it on end step after the attack.
We'll have to.
We'll have to work that out afterwards.
Yes, we'll have to work that one out at the end.
Because that's.
Is there a judge hanging out? Do you want to go get them?
No.
We're a little bit.
I think we're a little bit past it. This is actually, I think, turns now.
Yeah.
So I don't think either player actually has the capability of winning the game here.
We'll soon find out. Players have a bit of a time extension because they started slightly after everyone else.
Slightly later,
yeah, wrap in vigor, regenerate each creature you control, 1 in a green instant. Not bad. Pretty good card.
No, absolutely.
And maybe fortunate in some regard, but Adam, still at 19. I think you now have to start ninjuring your opponent, try and get the extra damage in, and then you can hold up the Fairy Miscreant as well. Looks like people might already be looking at it.
Querying the issue, yes. Oh, okay. The time has been called on our feature match area, and it looks like players are currently working out whether either of them can kill the other.
Probably not.
I'm going to go with not.
Not with one. Well, not with one forest in play. Maybe if you had 2, maybe you had 3, you might be able to make enough of them.
I mean, the question becomes, if you still had all those creatures in play.
Yes, you probably win.
Then maybe you win, yes.
You have enough power to push through, and I think it's probably going through something now, trying to work out. We've probably gone too far through the game.
We've gone too far,
but yeah,
unfortunately.
Something obviously to pick up for Alex and Adam is do remember how spells line up, because they still have regenerate. And that electricity would have done nothing.
No, it would have dealt an extra, a single point of damage to the...
Everything.
No, to the...
Oh, yeah, to a single point of damage to this.
Yeah, like they all just...
Yep.
Boom.
We see an attack for 2. You can see Ninja the Deep Powers. We have another Spell Stutter sprite at the top of our library. Yeah, I think you just Spell Stutter.
Yeah.
Like you Ninja probably the Miscreant, because you can mean... oh, no, he's not. He's just going to pass the turn back. So we're in turns at the moment.
So this will be turn 2, probably?
Yep.
Seeing double green, so this is we finally see the creature in play.
Well, I'm now going to have a look what it is.
What it might be.
I still think it's a Well-Wisher.
You could be right. That could just be a simple, a different printing of Well-Wisher than either of us have seen before.
Yep, Well-Wisher. There you go. Lovely, beautiful
perfect.
artwork.
That is lovely.
Modern border rather than the old one that people have on MTG Goldfish, which is what the other one we're using. So attack for 2 here, and we're going to Ninja. This time on the Spell Stutter sprite, bouncing that back. We're going to draw a card. What do we find off our draw step? We find another land. It looks like a
gain life land.
Yeah, gain life land.
But we've already seen a land drop for the turn, which was a Guild Gate.
Yeah.
Remember, folks, land drops after draw. Generally.
I think you've got so many tap lands. Like you don't holding up an extra untap land wouldn't have made a difference. You don't have one anyway.
No.
So it's not too bad. But yes, it's always best to do your things first and then make your land drops, especially if your opponent's not playing counter spells. The only time it's better to play lands first is if they have counter spells.
Mana leak, things like that, and or if you've got counter spells for their counter spells. Yes.
And you see Priest of Titania into play here. The Well-Wisher, well now we're going to Spell Stutter sprite that one. Yep, that seems pretty good.
We still get a trigger on our Elvish Vanguard.
No, because it's an ETB trigger.
Is it?
Yeah,
Elvish Vanguard's
an ETB.
Because it goes off with the Littlana Huntmaster. Yep. Yes, apologies.
So
Littlana Huntmaster is the cast trigger.
Yes, that is the cast trigger, so you'd always get the one.
Because otherwise it would go infinite with itself.
Yep, so we're going to attack for a very small amount.
This is 4, I believe.
So we're going to see what the life total's dropped to. Will tell us how strong that is now. His the dice to be it was actually 5.
Okay.
He's a 5 power creature. That is pretty large, and we see another lightning bolt into play here. We see a Delver of Secrets as well. What do you want to play? We're going to go the lightning bolt on the Well-Wisher.
Okay.
Yep. Gain 2 in response.
Yes, because that Well-Wisher was last turn.
Yep.
Handy.
I must say, I've been looking through some of these decks. I like the deck with the Fall of Muldrifter. Oh, it smells like value.
Have you seen the Tron lists yet?
No, I haven't even got there yet. I was working through the blue decks. We're going to see a shake of the hands there, and I imagine it turned out to be a draw. Well, what that does teach you, ladies and gentlemen, is don't take your time too much.
Yeah, oh, well, absolutely. That was
back to the booth, John Partridge, Jack Patton. My first ever appearance of Pauper, and it was good fun. Elves versus Delver. We've seen it in Legacy, seen it in Modern. Now we get to see it in Pauper. It's pretty good. But what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with round 2 very shortly. The only reason being is the boss man wants to take the computer back to his control to put the results in. So we will see you all very shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, round number 2 is upon us. John Partridge, Jack Patton alongside me to take you through our Monday night Pauper coverage. Round 1 was very interesting, Elves versus Blue Red Delver. Yes. However, round 2 has none of those. In fact, we have a white mirror, except one of them is white-red, one of them is mono-white. One of them's Rebels, one of them's Kuldotha Boros. We're going to send it straight down to feature match area. We will give the players the go-ahead, and we'll take you through another aggressive match of this wonderful Pauper format. So, while I go give the players a little go-ahead, you tell the viewers about what we might be seeing.
So we're going to be seeing a lot of small white creatures on both sides of the battlefield. However, we're also going to be seeing a certain number of small red creatures on the side of the battlefield of Nicholas there. So Kuldotha Boros takes a lot of the artifact lands and indeed just artifact spells in general, preferably the cantripping ones, when they die cantrip, and then using those with things that say bounce them back to hand or sacrifice them or just do these sorts of things so that they can put creatures that are larger than their mana cost suggest on the battlefield nice and early.
Well, this is more like it. This one's got 17 lands in it.
Yeah, I know. They don't cheat on lands in the White Weenie deck because it's very hard.
This one's got 20 in it.
Yes, but many of them cycle in the Boros deck. We've got Forgotten Caves, and we should have the Secluded Step in there as well.
Secluded Step. We also have Radiant Fountains because gaining life is apparently a thing in this format as well.
And there's a lot of bounce effects in the deck. The creatures put things back in hand.
So for the Kuldotha deck, we're looking at obviously Glint Hawk. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless you return an artifact you control to its owner's hand. 1 mana 2/2 is pretty good. Bearing in mind you have Thraben Inspectors, which is still the best 1 mana white spell printed by Wizards. Please remember this, guys. It's better than Path to Exile. No, it's not quite on that palatable, but in terms of creature level, Thraben Inspector is hugely good, and we can see a start with an Acathan Javelineers to start. 2 counters onto that.
Yep.
We will pull that one up now. This is going to test my spelling. Oh my goodness me. Actually, let's just go back to this page here. Oh yeah, so Icatian. Yeah, I wasn't far off. Yeah, that'll do for the moment. It'll probably find it.
Yeah, hold on. Do it again. Yep. Because neither of these decks run Spellstutter Sprite.
No. Oh no, that didn't like it. So I don't think it has an H in it.
Sorry, I was
excuses while we try and learn how to spell. Right,
and as we see here, we've gone for the white artifact land into a Ica Wellspring there, which draws a card on entering and dying. After having killed those Javelineers with a Galvanic Blast for just 2, there was no Metalcraft online at the time.
There we go. There we go. So as we were going back to it, again, Javelineers, a 1 mana white 1/1 comes into play with a Javelin counter on it. You may tap, remove a Javelin counter from it, and deal 1 damage to target creature player. Not getting a chance to do that because it was rudely Galvanic Blast straight away.
And this is a Course Skyfisher, I believe.
Yep, Course Skyfisher.
The Ica Wellspring to hand, and we see a cycling land there, a Secluded Step played by our Boros player.
And for those of you who aren't, Ica Wellspring, when it enters the battlefield or is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card. So just a nice way to repeat itself, plus the other side of it as well.
The deck just cycles through a lot of different things. This looks like a pacifism of some
3
variety.
Mana. I don't think for 3 mana it would be. Yeah, we're learning this as much as you guys are, because you only need to know where's a 2 mana one. It looks like, no, it's the one... I know what the card is, but I can't think of its name, and this is going to really frustrate me. I need to try and find it, because that is going to frustrate me otherwise, because I actually do know.
A gain life land off of Nicholas here. 2 mana Ica Wellspring back into play, draw another card. That is a red. Here we go, just cycling. Draws a red artifact land, plays a Glint Hawk, bounces the Ica Wellspring back to hand again.
Yeah, I mean, just going off,
yeah,
I believe is the word you're looking for at this point.
Also, can we find what creature this is at some point as well? Because I don't know what it is.
Let's just go...
And to pass the turn, it is at least smaller than a Glint Hawk. That is what I can tell you.
Yeah, so we're basically trying to find this This mono white.
This white deck. This looks like a homebrew from Joseph here, which is fantastic. And part of the reason this format is amazing, because both of these players are now 1-1, obviously. Ica Wellspring back into play. Another artifact land off the top for Nicholas. And we see him playing another Ica Wellspring, drawing another artifact land. Wow, he's flooding quite hard, actually. But I think I see a Kuldotha Rebirth in hand, which means he's going to be able to sacrifice one of these Ica Wellsprings to make 3 1/1 goblin tokens. The creature on the battlefield also searches for 4 mana. Oh, I think it searches for enchantments. I don't know.
That's always what you want to start with. I have no idea what he's playing. Right, okay, so we're going to go with the mono white.
No, it's searched for a creature and flashed it into play, it seems. Because this is blocking this Glinthawk, which is fine, but it's going to get bolted. Bolted after blocks, but before damage. Yeah, the deck is Rebels from Joseph here, but it's...
we're just trying to work out some of the cards.
We're just trying to work out which Rebels.
Yeah, because there's quite a few, so I'm hoping this will hopefully give me the... Hopefully, fingers crossed.
We seem to have found
so yes, we have.
Here we go.
It is bound. So the enchantment is called Bound in Silence, which is enchant creature can't attack or block. The things we're looking at is... so Defiant Falcon was what we were looking at, which is 4 mana, search your library for a rebel card with converted mana cost 3 or less, and put that card into play. Now, what we found was an Avon Rift Watcher, which is flying, vanishing 3, 3 mana, 2/3, with when it enters the battlefield or leaves the battlefield, you gain 2 life. So a nice 4-point life gain here, as we see an Amru Scout come down alongside 2 more Cathan Javelineers.
If those Javelineers get to untap,
and
they
also
still won't kill the Glinthawk.
And we still have the...
I believe.
Try and work it. And we also have the Defiant Falcon that's still in play. A Rebel Bird, apparently, is one way of doing it. So the deck is a Cathan Javelineers, 4 Remosian Sergeants, which is a 1 mana, 1/1, 3 mana tap, search your library for a Rebel card with converting cost 2 or less. We have Amru Scouts, we have Defiant Falcons, we have Remosian Lieutenants. All of these cards search for Rebels. We have Squadron Hawk because, well, Squadron Hawk carrying serrated arrows or carrying anything is pretty good, or just more cards to have. We also have
a deck in Standard a few years
ago. It was pretty good. It carried many swords, I believe.
Carried some swords, yes.
The Squadron Hawk is very good at carrying swords.
Yes.
We also have Nightwind Glider, we have Thermal Glider, and Zealot Ilvek. For those of you who are more aware of this deck, it took me quite a while to find, but pretty good. Pretty good. And then we have 4 Bound in Silence, 2 Journey to Nowhere, a Serrated Arrows, and 2 Prismatic Strands. Prevent all damage that sources of colour of your choice will deal this turn. Flashback, tap an untapped white creature you control.
So
pretty good.
We see a Kuldotha Rebirth there, taking out an Ica Wellspring to both draw a card and make 3 1/1 Goblin tokens. And then we see a flurry of kill spells, one pointed at Joseph's card advantage engine, where he gets to search up any of his Rebels, and then another pointed at the Javelineer, which in conjunction with the second Javelineer would have been able to take out the Glinthawk, or just start mowing down goblins.
Yeah.
And
just to remember that all of these cards have a way of searching for other cards. So, like, for example, your Amru Scout is a 2 mana 2/1 with 4 tap. Search your library for a Rebel permanent card with converted mana cost 3 or less and put it onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. Now, please do bear in mind, it says specifically Rebel permanent card.
Yes.
And what is Bound in Silence? It is a Rebel aura. You can search up your Rebel aura.
So that's why you're not playing straight pacifism. You're searching up the
now,
aura.
Do you want to know why I recognise that Bound in Silence card? So for a while, before I even played Magic, my brother played Magic. Now, he played with his friends, and he built a Rebel deck. Now, it wasn't great. Now, bearing in mind, the decks we were playing with were utter rubbish. They were bad. But it had Amru Scouts, it had Bound in Silence, it had some of these cards, and I remember getting utterly destroyed by this deck. As you just go, I'll just tap 4 mana and go and get this enchantment, and your massive monster can't attack. Because what did I enjoy playing with? Massive monsters.
Massive creatures.
Yeah, which didn't work very well, but hey ho. So that's where I recognise that card from. A little bit of history on Magic there. I have no idea. I never played with these cards. I started playing in Theros, but one of those things. So we're going to
Ooh,
the spicy.
Spicy, very nice.
So we can see the core Skyfisher picking up a core Skyfisher because it allows it to return target permanent you control to its owner's hand, which means that the Bound in Silence hits the graveyard.
Now
we're then going to do it again
and
pick up the
Ichor Wellspring. Yeah.
So we're going to pick up the Ichor Wellspring rather than the Journey to Nowhere.
Can't. That's an Oblivion Ring.
Oh, it's an Oblivion Ring.
Yes.
That'll be why. So we're going to see.
Even if it was a Journey to Nowhere, you can't.
So we're going to see the Cathan Javelineer trade with 2 of the Goblin tokens. We're going to take 1 point of damage. It's not a bad trade, not the worst in the world. Let's see if he can get any of these rebels online. We see the Ichor Wellspring still in hand and 2 core Skyfishers which are about to start attacking. We see a...
Oh no, that is a land that when you sacrifice it, it gives -2/-1 to a target attacking creature.
Do you know what the card's called? What don't you want to walk in that sucks you in the more you move?
Quicksand?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's what it's called. So Quicksand, tap, add 1 colourless mana to your mana pool, or sacrifice Quicksand, target attacking creature without flying gets -1/-2. Pretty good against Goblin tokens, not so good against the core
rest of the
Skyfishers.
flyers on the battlefield.
Yeah.
No.
But now he does have 4 mana available to start searching up rebels and starting to get his engine online, which, to be fair, Nicholas has done a very good job of stopping because of this Ichor Wellspring continually getting him more card advantage.
Is that another Kuldotha Rebirth, I believe?
I'll tell you what, if there's a Kuldotha Rebirth, this looks pretty good. Looks like 1 mana being... Yes, we have Kuldotha Rebirth. Sacrifice this Ichor Wellspring, make 3 1/1s and draw another card, because that's what happens
Galvanic
as well.
Blast off the top, definitely online for the number of artifact lands in play.
Yeah. So Galvanic Blast, a red, deal 2, or Metalcraft, deal 4. To your face as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Creature or player.
In this deck, strictly better Bolt.
Yes, definitely. We see 3 mana being tapped. We see Triplicate Spirits coming into play, obviously using the Convoke part of it to make it cheaper, because I believe that spell is 6 mana.
6 mana, yes.
Normally.
And it makes 3 flying.
Funnily enough.
Yeah. Triplicate Spirits. I worked it out. I got there.
We got there. We got there, guys. We worked it out.
So this is... this was a scourge of what, M15?
Oh, that limited format was... I've opened a Triplicate Spirits. That's pretty much won the game. Good game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So we're going to see him fetch up another Defiant Falcon from his library here on the end step, using the Scouts as a way to do that. Obviously, these tokens are now going to start taking over the game.
Yeah.
And
this is... I mean, yeah, as we said, the Rebel Searcher's back. We've got... that looked like a Squad Hawk off the top there.
Squadron Hawk could be pretty good. But I think at the moment we're looking at just using getting an Aven Rift Walker would be pretty good. So Triplicate Spirits was a 4 white sorcery with Convoke, put 3 1/1 white spirit creature tokens onto the battlefield with flying. Yeah, that was pretty good in M15 Limited. Not gonna lie. I lost too many copies of Triplicate Spirit in that format. It's pretty broken.
My first listen to Magic the Amateuring podcast was filled with their rage for this card.
Yeah, I bet it was. It is a pretty good card. Obviously, this deck choosing to play Triplicate Spirits over some of possibly the other spells you're looking at, maybe things like Journey to Nowhere, things like Battle Screech we haven't seen any of, maybe deciding Battle Screech not quite as good as...
Sometimes goes in the sideboard, sometimes is in the main deck. I think it's very good because obviously flashes back quite easily, but I think it's quite expensive in paper.
Is anything in this format expensive? Battle Screech is
$2.
Battle Screech in paper is about $6.50.
$7.
Wow,
yeah.
really?
Yeah, so for Pauper, that is actually a very expensive card.
Yeah, I was going to say, because the rest of the deck is looking at Ancient Den's the next most expensive one. So.
Ancient Den completely unplayable in any other format because it's banned everywhere else.
Yeah, so we're going to see a activation of the Defiant Falcon here from Joseph, and he's going to fetch up what looks like a... Oh, now we're going to have to go through it. The Thermal Glider. It is a 3-mana 2/1 with flying and protection from red. It's a pretty good blocker.
Seems good against those gobos.
Yeah, seems pretty good against the Goblin tokens. I'm a bit more worried about the rest of the damage that's coming across.
I mean, yeah.
You're at 21 life still. You have a lot of life to play with.
He's gained yeah.
Even Riftwalker does gain a lot of life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
even Riftwatcher, sorry.
Yes.
It gains 2 life when it enters the battlefield and when it leaves. So it's 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage coming across here from the Kuldotha red deck.
Yeah, I'll lose a goblin for 9 damage. That seems fine.
It feels pretty bad. It still takes 9 damage. But yeah, so Joseph down to 11, and we're going to see a passing of the turn back. One of the goblins down. But he needs to probably find another one of those, and we see a planes off the top. That's a pretty good draw. You can start making some Squadron Hawks as well if need be. But again,
start getting the squad.
There is possibly only one Thermal Glider. But again, things you can find. Ramosan Lieutenant is a 1/2. It's another way of blocking well. Riftwatcher is a 2/3. It's another way of blocking. But I'd be very worried about the amount of damage that you're going to take from
so
these
you can
gliders,
make one
Skyfishers.
Squad Hawk, fill up your hand, still hold up your search.
Yes.
And I think that's probably what we're going to see, because obviously the advantage engine is now online. You just need to be able to live
Survive.
long enough to get to the end.
And I mean, that's the thing, is what is the win condition? What does he have to get to? It just feels like the tokens are just going to do too much to him.
Absolutely.
But we'll soon find out.
Still Gale Blast in hand, so actually your life total is 7.
Yeah, and the planes off the top here. So Nicholas drawing plenty of lands this game. We're going to actually go in a cycle it. That's okay, so that's not a bad draw.
Into Ica Wellspring, we're going to cycle again.
It's time to replace itself. Galvanic Blast obviously able to keep that at its best. You can draw another card. So we've now looked at 3 cards this turn, and we found a planes.
Yeah, finally we're not drawing cards anymore.
The payoff was a planes. Exactly what you want to see. But these cards, these spells are starting to get quite big. Even a 2/2 from Glinthawk is quite large. So we see a massive attack here from Nicholas. Now I think this is where you start to find your Riftwatcher, your second one.
I was going to say,
but then it's probably just going to get Gav blasted.
I kind of feel like before blocks it has to be, but you're still gaining the 4 life.
Yes,
off it, right?
you are.
Which effectively is an 8 life swing because you're not taking the Gale Blast to the face.
So he's having a quick look through what else he can find. And we're going to find another Haven, a Riftwatcher, gaining 2 life, up to 13 for Joseph. Life total stabilising a little bit. Are we allowed to block? Apparently we are allowed to go to... No, we are allowed to go to blocks. So I think I might... it's such a challenge at the moment because you're taking so much damage. You're taking 2, 4, 6, 8, 11 damage. So it's an attack for 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 damage. We're going to use this to kill one of the... I'd use it to kill one of the spirits.
You can't. Non-flying only.
Non-flying, yeah. So it kills that. And then we're going to throw one of these in the way of another goblin.
Okay.
So we're going to take 2, 4, 7.
Going to 5, exactly out of Galvanic Blast range.
Yep, so Glinthawk's going to die. We're going to trade off some creatures. You can go next turn though. And
I mean, absolutely. So amusingly, you'd rather the.
However, you do get to make 3 Squadron Hawks next turn.
Well, yes. Okay, so you're going to have a bunch of chump blockers, and you're still ticking down on your vanishing.
Riftwatcher.
Is that? Yeah.
Yep. So we see a cycle land here.
I imagine that's going to get cycled because you can still
make 2
Squad Hawk. Actually, you should probably Squad Hawk first so you don't accidentally draw one. I mean, it's very
really matter
minor.
if you draw one. But sure, that's true. I can see why you do that. Yep.
But yeah, I think actually Joseph might have just stabilised.
Well, we'll soon find out. We're going to make Squadron Hawk to start with. So we're going to search up all the rest of its friends. Squadron Hawk, a 2-mana 1/1 that when it enters the battlefield, you may search up any number of other cards named Squadron Hawk. Which should be the
number slamming the 4. Second one into play.
Yes, we should have another 2. We've got one there and another one there. No swords to carry, though.
We do have some weapons, don't we? We've got the serrated arrows.
Serrated arrows, is that...
No, that is just an artifact.
Yeah,
okay,
it's just
I
an
thought
artifact.
for some reason that was an equipment.
I'm gonna find someone else. Unfortunately, people still think we sell food and drink. We don't. We're not allowed to do that. We have been categorically told we are not allowed to sell food and drink to people here. We are simply here to do the commentary work, and that is about it. And try and tell you what the cards do.
We are entirely useless otherwise.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not far off.
You notice I said otherwise.
We are otherwise engaged with different things. You can see a chop block
we're
here.
going to see some blocks going on.
Unfortunately, he's still dead to Gav Blast because I don't think he's going to use it. Oh no, he can. I think he has to block this thermal glider this turn. Unfortunately,
if he doesn't, he's taking 3. He's still taking 4.
He's taking 2 at the moment.
How?
Oh no, he's taking 4. Yeah.
He's double blocked one of those core Skyfishers. He wants to get it out of the way.
Yeah, which is fair.
Which is fine. I get that, but I'm pretty certain that Joseph stopped playing around the Galvanic Blast. If he was playing around it last turn.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a game action occurring with 2 of these rebels.
Yes.
Or one of the rebels and a Glinthawk, I think.
We're grouping up, boys.
Okay,
Take 3, Gav Blast you. Yeah. Okay.
Oh no, rally the peasants. Excellent.
Even better.
Yep.
Still done.
Still
looks
just
like
game.
Looks like we now enter the scoop phase of this turn. Obviously, for those interested, Rally the Peasants is a 2 and a white. It creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. You may flash it back for 2 and a red. But on to the sideboard. So obviously the sort of things we're looking at from the side of the Kuldotha Boros deck. We have things like Electricity, which is obviously going to be great. You have a lot of 1 toughness rebels. We have Fragmentize, not so good.
Not so good.
Relic of Progenitus, not so good. Circle of Protection red, nope, no, don't need that one.
No.
Flaring Pain, no, probably not. Flaring Pain is 1 and a red. Damage can't be prevented this turn. Flashback for a red.
There aren't any fogs in this deck, but that is very good anti-fog tech. If you're playing
there
against...
There are fog. No, there aren't.
There's plenty of... Yeah, not in this deck, but if you're playing against Tron or something like that are playing the fog version, that's quite good.
You also have things like Standard Bearer, which is a 2-mana 1/1. If an opponent plays a spell or ability that could target a Flag Bearer in play, that player chooses at least 1 Flag Bearer as a target.
Yeah, so it means that your other creatures are protected. It's very good against, a lot of removal spells. But I don't necessarily know as it's a big deal here. Well, like the Rebels deck didn't seem to point a great deal of removal spells at you. It had 1 Pacifism and an Oblivion ring.
Oblivion ring. Dust to Dust, remove 2 target artifacts from the game.
No. And
the Patrician's Scorn, if you play, this is an 4-mana instant, if you played another white spell this turn, you may play Patrician's Scorn without paying its mana cost, destroy all our enchantments. Nope, not for this one. So we're looking at probably Electricaries, and that's about it.
Yeah, like this feels like both of these decks aren't designed to fight against each other because that would mean fighting the mirror match.
Oh, I don't know. I like the sideboard card here that you could see from the Rebel deck. So if we looked at the Rebel deck, you have some Doom Travelers, just in case you need them possibly. You also have Circle of Protection red, which I would bring here.
I would actually bring in, yes.
Yep, I like that one. You have more Journeys to Nowhere, which I like as well. I think maybe not because you can bounce again. I like the 3rd copy of Avon Riftwatcher if he has it.
I do actually, yeah. I think that's very good because you are going to be beaten down by this Kuldotha
And
Boros.
Also, I don't mind bringing in the Core Sanctifiers. It's another way of killing off the Ichor Wellspring, which means he can't use it to his best of his abilities. It's a 2/3 as well.
Can't keep flickering it, can't keep doing nonsense like that.
They also block pretty well.
They are 2/3s. That is very true, actually.
Do you want to know what card I like the most, though?
Go on.
I'd like to cast my White Bolt. I'd like to Sunlance you.
Excellent.
I think if you have Sunlance, this is definitely the matchup you bring Sunlance in. You want point removal rather than anything else because, let's be honest, your opponent's playing with 2/3s that want to bounce other things. So your enchantments aren't as reliable as just going, it takes 3 damage. Goodbye, please remove yourself from the battlefield. But there we go. That's roughly what we're looking at for possible sideboard cards. We're only going with roughly what we can find. So on to game number 2. This deck costs about 8 ticks on Modo, this Rebels deck.
$17 in paper.
Yeah, $17 in paper.
I mean, to be fair, the trick is finding the cards. I mean, I was at the Grand Prix trying to build an Elf deck, and you couldn't get the cards. You just have to order them online, unfortunately.
You do, but then that's not like, it's not exactly that bad because you can pretty much order the deck and pay for the postage, and the postage may cost more.
Yep, I've done that. It's hilarious.
I'd like to buy this deck, and the postage costs me more. But then that is one of the things with Pauper. The cards, bear in mind, are on average, especially in the Rebel deck, about 10 cents.
The most expensive?
The most expensive card is your Prismatic Strands at $4.50 for 2 of them. The next most expensive card is your Emosan Sergeants at $1.50 for a playset. Welcome to the joys of Pauper.
I love this format so
I mean, if we go
much,
to the other, like Battle Screech is the most expensive card, but if you take out Battle Screech, the next one is your Relic of Progenitus.
Ancient Den.
Ancient Den relics. Like, relics are always going to be expensive because they're played across multiple other formats.
So many other formats.
Modern and legacy staples, especially modern. Like, it's a modern staple, that card. Every deck that wants to sort of have some sort of interaction wants it. It also does cycle itself and Exile's Graveyard, which is great against Snapcaster Mage and other decks of that ilk. But
not in this format.
No, not in this format. I mean, could you play Dredge in this format?
Yeah, well, there's
you could.
There's Tortured
Priced Amalgam and Uncommon or a Common?
No, Uncommon. But there's plenty of Dredges. Bloodghast is common, I want to say. But there is a Tortured Existence deck. That is an enchantment for a single black that allows you to discard creatures to get creatures back from your graveyard to your hand. So you just play like value.
It didn't like me spelling of it.
No.
It also didn't like it in caps as well. Maybe that's why I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But then things like Faithless Lootings are common.
Yes.
So you have other ways. Yeah. Oh, it's a rare. In Iconic Masters, it was classed as a rare. So
see, this is the thing with Pauper. There are cards that have been printed in paper, never at common. Still legal in this format because they've been printed in online sets at common.
Yes. Which is something to bear in mind, is that this does go across multiple different formats as we see a Defiant Fog. And yes, Faithless Looting's are common. We can play that card. We can play a Dredge deck. So then Relic's quite good.
There's actually a Reanimator deck.
Okay, yeah.
There's a red-black Reanimator deck. You're trying to reanimate Giant Eldrazi.
May have to go and find that one.
Yeah, no, it's
but
good.
Yeah, so there are many different ones we can play. We see an attack for 1 with the Defiant Griffin. Looks like we have a Thermal Glider to follow up. Thermal Glider to follow up. And to pass back the turn. Yeah, we don't know what we're doing either, don't worry. Nothing. Because no one else wanted to do it.
Gain life, land, and another prismatic Omen.
Which is good because he now has a bit more insulation against people just blowing up his artifacts. All commons, wonderful.
Yes. So obviously, yeah, the Exhume and Ulamog's Crusher is fantastic. Obviously, the deck also plays the Dragon's Breath, so it can be a turn 2 kill. The Reanimator deck.
Where's this Reanimator deck?
Well, basically a turn 2 kill.
I can't find it.
It's red-black.
Yeah, I guess that.
Maybe it isn't up on.
I've got burn decks.
Yeah, there's a few.
Tortured Existence. Well, that's one we can look at.
Oh yeah, that's. I like this one. This is like a Jund value thing. It's great.
Oh yes, value. Everyone loves value, don't they?
Yeah. Yes, reprint Oubliette. Oubliette reprint, please.
What does Oubliette do?
Oubliette is 1 black, and it exiles target creature, but you also note down the number and type of counters on it and all of the auras. And if Oubliette leaves the battlefield, it gets all of that back.
Oh, cool.
It's worth path Journey to Nowhere, but it has 2 black pips in its casting cost, so it's great for Gary.
Yes.
Anyway, the game going
Green
on.
Merchant and Vasfidel.
We're seeing some slow beats.
Oh, we have the triple Prismatic Omen, which does, however, mean that this Defiant Falcon now starts to go fetching up different types of Rebel. This is much, much better for Joseph here on the play. Even though he's down to 16, he now gets to find another Thermal Glider, the second one coming in from the sideboard, possibly the main already. As we say, we don't have the full build up here. What was the Mog's Crusher? It's an 8/8.
Yeah.
With attacks each turn and Annihilator 2. It's pretty good.
Basically ends the game, and especially if you put Dragon's Breath on it.
I have lots of these cards already.
Yeah.
Because I play...
That is hilarious.
Enchant creature gains haste and gets fire breathing. When a creature... Oh, that one. So you play and it comes... Oh.
Yeah. Turn 1,
Combo
Faithless
value.
Looting, get rid of that, and your Ulamog's Crusher. Turn 2, Swamp, Exhume.
Yep.
Bang.
I own Exhumes and Lotus Petals.
Oh, this one plays Lotus Petals?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The joys of playing Legacy Reanimator. You get to play real Reanimate spells. But again, digress from this one. So we see the 2 thermal gliders attacking in 4-4, the 2-1 flyer with Pro Red. Pretty good on this board state, and this Defiant Falcon is just going to continue to search up different ones. We see the Core Sky Fisher here
bouncing, and we are looking. It looks like Nicholas is pretty constrained on mana here.
Looks white. Looks like white mana is what he's constrained on.
He's absolutely constrained on white mana, but I think he's just constrained. But he's got the prismatic. He can cycle into those other colours.
Yeah, of course.
It's just he just needs to hit some more lands.
Yes.
I think he might be.
Looks like a lightning bolt. Well, lightning bolt might be used to take out the Defiant Falcon. I don't mind that. Again, it's what you then find on the other side of it, because that Defiant Falcon can probably just replace itself.
I was going to say the Defiant Falcon can search up a Defiant Falcon. Can't
3 or less. Yes, and this is the thing with the Rebels deck, is once it gets to 4 mana in play, it can pretty much replace whatever you kill.
Yeah.
The Core Skyfish is going to do a lot of work though.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can see I can see this.
Here,
I can see this Defiant Falcon searching up a. You've just played that one. We're going to activate the Defiant Falcon
in response,
and we're going to
end step.
In the end step.
In the end step.
So we're going to get
that Falcon.
Yes, we need to get rid of the Falcon, especially as your opponent has searched up a Bound in Silence, which means you have taken them off of their ability to search up a Rebel.
Yes, absolutely. Do it now while tapped out. You have to.
This bolt's going to be pretty good.
This is the only time that you get to do this, because as soon as you let it untap.
Yes.
And yes, it is a Rebel permanent.
It's a Rebel aura. They cleverly made that a Rebel, just so that you could fetch it with your Rebels. So we're going to see Lightning Bolt take down the Defiant Falcon.
Yep, perfect, excellent.
And a pass back of the turn. And another attack for 4. Nicholas down to 10, which does mean we get to play these Amru Scouts. We do have another Bound in Silence in hand. Looks like we have a Squadron Hawk as well. Actually, I quite like making the
Squadron Hawk.
I quite like Squadron Hawk and Amru Scout.
Yeah, no, actually, that's quite a good plan. You're not under any pressure whatsoever here from Nicholas, and you are starting to get the beatdowns on.
Yes, just starting to litter the stuff, littering your board with play. So we see an Amru Scout here. We might, or I would just play 2 Squadron Hawks, because you have the ability to. Yep, I'm going to like to search up my Squadron Hawks.
Oh, he's just passing it back, though.
Okay, that's interesting.
So just putting those Squad Hawks in.
The thing is, I'd have made the Squadron Hawk. You're not really doing anything else.
No, I don't think there's much instant speed interaction in this deck.
No.
Especially without Nicholas having an attacker this turn.
Yes, exactly.
So I think maybe I would have made a Squad Hawk, but I don't actually know the full complexion of Joseph's deck. Maybe he's got something a little bit more techy. And Nicholas, I think, deep in the tank, because there's not a great deal. He's going to play another Prismatic, try and draw a land, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
He needs to find a land. He's taking a lot of damage. Looks like there may have been maybe the 4th Prismatic Omen rolled off the top. Did not look like a land, however, and the 3 Squadron Hawks going to hand and a pass back of the turn. This is looking pretty bad here for Nicholas on this side of the table. So we are going to, however, have a mana. Looks like we've got another Lightning Bolt. Take out the Amru Scout. It's not bad. We have a lot of Squadron Hawks, though, and the beat is down. This is 5 damage.
But Squad Hawk dies to overloaded Electrolytes. What is gain 2 life, I believe.
Radiant? No.
No, that's not. That is a different land to one I was expecting.
Oh, it's a Haunted Fengraf, which is add a colourless mana or sacrifice Haunted Fengraf, 3 tap, sacrifice, return a creature card at random from your graveyard to your hand. Well, that's pretty good when you've got 2 searchers in your graveyard.
Yeah.
I like that one. And you also get to play a Squadron Hawk this turn.
That seems decent. Yeah. I like that.
Seems pretty good. Just put more. I think you've got to start putting more bodies on the board.
This Rebels deck looks like a really good grindy value deck.
It does.
So no, absolutely.
Not so good against the 2/3 flyer, but that is not so bad either. I think. Like which of these 2 cards would you like? I think either of them's fine. They both do the same job. He is going to get back what looks like a Defiant Falcon and play it straight away. The Amru Scout back into the graveyard. Playing it straight away as well, which is fine. I think still making the Squadron Hawks last turn, because if he finds another Kite Sail Core, whatever it's called. This is really testing my knowledge of cards now. The Core Sky Fisher. If he finds another one, he gets to make it.
Yeah.
And if he finds a land, he gets to make another one. So again, it depends on what he's playing with at the moment. But he's definitely not hitting these land drops, especially at 20. You would have expected him to hit a land drop by now.
Yeah,
Bit of a shame that these Prismatic Omens, especially when you've drawn 4 extra cards and not seen a 4th land, is quite surprising for this deck.
By the way, this is how you lose in Rivals of Ixalan draft.
What, not drawing any lands?
Well, yeah, not drawing anything.
I was going to say, yeah, because that format is very aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
I did draft a green-blue Murpho deck with 7 2-drops and 4 1-drops.
We're pulling the trigger again. We're pulling...
Has he got a land, though?
No, it doesn't look like it.
Which means this Bound in Silence is going to be absolutely backbreaking for Joseph here. He has another Bound in Silence in hand, which is going to be huge. This is a lethal attack next turn.
He only needs to buy himself another turn. The fact that you can keep returning the...
And the thing is, yes, Gav Blast is fine, but you're still dead this turn, sir, because those thermal gliders do a lot of damage each turn.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're going to untap, we're going to draw a card, and we'll soon be on to game number 3. Bound in Silence going to do the job and get rid of this card. See, 3 mana, Bound in Silence.
And 5 you.
Attack for 5.
Exactsies.
Okay.
Okay, game 3.
Yep. Well...
What do you think of the format? It's interesting.
I'm telling you at the end. I'm not telling you now.
Okay.
You've got to wait till the end. You've got to wait it out. You've got to let me see a couple of rounds of this format before I give you what I think about it.
Fair enough.
You may be surprised what the answer is.
Okay. That's...
But you can wait and find out.
I'll wait and find out. That sounds good. So did we see anything there that makes us want to re-sideboard, or was it the decks were doing what they were meant to be doing,
well, I think
except Nicholas's didn't draw any land?
I think Joseph is at quite a significant disadvantage in this matchup anyway.
I feel like it too.
Because
gives you access to a lot of good sideboard cards.
Well, not even that, but your opponent's playing with 2 3s and you're playing with 2 1s.
Yeah.
Like those core Skyfishes are huge roadblocks for this deck. Like he can beat the 1/1, he can beat the 1/1, but even Triplicate Spirits again is another good block. What are you playing? You're playing a pile of 2 1s. Your flyers, apart from the Rift Watcher, are all 2 1s. So to me, the Kuldotha Boros deck has a significant advantage over the Rebel deck, especially when the Skyfisher starts bouncing itself and getting rid of the enchantments.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, we saw that game. Like you can win. The Rebel deck can win. I would much prefer to be on the side of the Boros deck, not just because of Lightning Bolt, more because I play a 4/2/3s. Plus, the Glint Hawk is also great, and Thraben Inspector is also just a good value if he's running that one. I mean, I would be. If I was playing a white deck here, I'd be playing it as well. So let's see what the players draw up for the next turn.
Hoping for a good game 3, you know, make all your land drops. We'll get to see what each deck actually does. So we're actually at 48 players here tonight, which is actually kind of awesome. I'm really happy with.
Yeah, it's a huge turnout. It's really good. It's very impressive. It's it's sort of what you want to see a lot of the time as well. Playing an event, even in the week, you want to see a good turnout, and that's what we've got today. And we see the next draw. We see protection. Circle of Protection red in the hand of Joseph to start, which is what we want. It protects you from Bolt and Galvanic Blast, and that's some of the damage that's going to be caused to you.
Yeah.
It's going to draw for the turn. See a Plains, and do we have a 1-drop?
No.
Pass the turn back. No 1-drop here for either decks. The tap land making pay to that as we see a Lightning Bolt roll off the top. We see is it Ancient Den, that one?
Yeah, that is an Ancient Den, the white artifact land.
So Ancient Den into play.
We're seeing a Seeker of the Way.
Oh, wow.
Which
that's a good card.
I like that. That's not actually in the list we've got here, but I like that one. So this is a 1 and a white for a 2/2 prowess creature. When you cast an instance or...
when you cast a non-creature spell.
Yeah, it's just any non-creature, isn't it? You get a
prowess trigger.
It gets a prowess trigger, but it also gains lifelink.
I was wondering if you're going to remember that one.
No.
I have many fond stories of people not understanding how prowess works with Seeker of the Way. So I was at a GP, and while the players are going on, so my opponent, so looks like he has played a. Let's quickly flick back to the Rebels page. He has played a Ramosian Lieutenant.
Okay. It's just that it's next to his land. So I was, straight up bolted.
And we're going to trigger the Seeker of the Way.
And then we're going to get in for 3 lifelink. Seems good.
17 plays 24.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent. And it's amusing, actually. I didn't consider this before, but all of your artifacts trigger the prowess triggers and the lifelink trigger. Yes. So while you're playing out your Ica Wellsprings and your prismatic omens and things like that, you get to draw extra cards. I think that's a cycling land in hand for Nicholas, and I don't think he should cycle that. He's only got one extra land. I think he needs to make this land drop so that next turn he can hold up Glint. Oh, he's got Glinthawk. Nice. Bouncing.
Yes.
You see the
Combo.
synergies now. You see
Combo.
Yeah, just fine deck building.
As a illustrious other commentator across Pombo, though, that is a combo.
Yes.
Card also comes at a good rate. I think that guy is fantastic. He is so good. Like, card's a good rate. Yeah, the Circle of Protection red is looking pretty bad, but I'm going to play it anyway. And it's your go, sir. I'm about to take 4. There's a lot of power on the board against you, especially as it is coloured in white. So,
we may have been casting as if our players were in the opposite seats. It seems.
We didn't set it up. I can only blame someone else for it. But anyway, I didn't type the name. We see Rally the Peasants here. So this is a trigger of prowess. This is going to be an attack for 5, 6, 7. That's a lot of damage. That's 4. That is 9 damage coming across here. That is a huge amount of damage, and 5 of it is lifelink. We'll soon be at 29 instead.
This is, I mean, this is basically what we were saying about the matchup, right? It's
Nicholas's creatures just get outsized by the Kuldotha red deck and Kuldotha Boros deck, and that is a challenge he's got to deal with. Even this Aven Riftwatch is not going to do a huge amount. It'll block for a couple of turns.
I actually really love that attack. I think that was great. Like, you've only got 2 creatures in play. You're not going for the big one. You're just going for...
Your opponent tapped out, just smash them for 9 damage. Your opponent's at 8 now. Looks like...
Disenchant the land?
Interesting.
Okay. Sure.
Hope your opponent doesn't have another land, otherwise you're dead.
Yeah. There's the land off the top. Flashback the Rally of the Peasants.
And
kill you.
9 damage to you. Yeah.
That seems
I believe that is how that card works.
That is how that works. Yeah.
I believe. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know all the decks in Pauper, but I'm pretty sure I know how Rally the Peasant works.
Opponent looks got nothing, boys. I'd like to extend the hand, and
do it.
That means that Joseph takes down. Well, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
He will. He did shake the hand. So
that's the game.
Congratulations, Joseph, marching on to 2-0, taking down the mono-white rebel deck there with his Kuldotha Boros deck. 2 very interesting decks.
Very interesting.
As we said, it feels like the Kuldotha Boros deck has a quite a large advantage with playing 2 3s and 2 2s.
But think about the rebel deck versus, say, is it Delver deck?
Oh, cool. Yes.
Yeah.
Value
where you're just grinding them out.
You made a 3-2, and then I just extended my board.
Yeah. So, no, I understand exactly where that sits in the meta. That's really good.
Definitely very interesting deck as well, the way it all comes together, the way you can search up pretty much anything you want at a given point in time. Things like the Bound in Silence as well is another interaction.
Great. That's really
a huge
nice interaction.
Yeah, it's really nice. I think probably the Kuldotha red deck with the Kuldotha Boros deck was probably the one to win.
Yeah.
Just like in round 1, you felt that the Elf deck would eventually outsize the... Again, within each matchup, there are different win conditions. Like we saw, Keep 1 Game 2, the Rebel deck is able to win both of them. But just as a small snapshot of Pauper, I think if you're playing aggressive decks against each other, having 2 3s for 2 is probably going to be better.
2 1s or 2 2s,
especially
or 1 1s.
Exactly, yeah. When you're and just being able to flood the board with random creatures as well for very cheap mana is always really important as well. Being able to convert your triplicate spirits very early on. Like, say you went Ichor Wellspring into Kuldotha Rebirth, then allows you to triplicate spirits next turn with a land. It's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Pretty powerful
that
play.
Line, yeah.
And bearing in mind your goblins are unlikely to die most of the time. I haven't seen anything that would make me think, I don't think these goblins are going to survive. They might just be dead.
Yeah.
But in fact, you're going to be able to untap with them. It's a pretty easy play. You can also make a 2-drop at the same time if you have one in your deck. Like, you could, for example, make a Core Skyfisher and return a token to your hand if you so wanted to. But anyways, that brings us to the end of round number 2. We're going to take a very short break. We'll be back with round number 3 of coverage very shortly. Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. Round number 3 is upon us. John Partridge, Jack Patton to take you through a little bit more Pauper for your Monday evening. We have one deck that we've seen before in the Mono Blue Delver deck, but on the other side of the table we have apparently one of the most popular decks and a pillar in the 5-colour pile deck, as I refer to it, or what as more affectionately should be the Tron deck. But when I looked at it, it is a 5-colour pile deck. But well, then they're the best ones because you play everything in those colours.
You play all the good cards in those colours.
You look at Legacy, you play a 4-colour pile deck there, and it's one of the best ones. But we're going to send it down to the feature match area. Tron versus Mono Blue Delver. We're going to give the players the go-ahead, and we'll be on to round number 3 of our coverage from our Monday night Pauper. So we will give the players the go-ahead. They're already with their cards. Jack, you can talk for a little bit while I go and tell our players to go.
So Tron, and this is the, as John said, the 5-colour version of the Tron deck. So playing all of the good spells, Moment's Peace and Mystical Teachings, that sort of thing, to try and... I'm not entirely certain of the payload of the Tron deck. I'm not sure if we're going to Ulamog's Crusher or Rolling Thunder, but we're going to be playing some big mana spells.
Yeah, well, the one I was looking at it has Oracles, Walls and Drifters. There's no Tron.
You can just kill people with your kind of medium creatures.
But we're going to see a Lightning Bolt to take out the turn 1 Delver here, and we're going to draw for the turn for the Mono Blue Delver deck. The pile of islands is always nice to look at. Very nice islands, though.
Yeah.
They're not white bordered, though. No, it's fine. They're lovely. Gotta love them.
You and you... Never
mind. What?
That deck you lent me with all the white border...
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So the little backstory to that one, I lent you the I lent Jack for a PPTQ. I lent him the Abzan Tokens deck, which has the best part of about 10 basics. Yeah. All of them are white bordered.
The swamps didn't even match.
No, that's the best bit. I normally did it tilt my opponents, but I think in Jack's case it tilted him more than his opponents.
I had to fix it the night before.
Oh, poor person. You poor person. We're going to see a Ponder into a Delver here from
So
Emil.
that Delver's flipping is what we're saying.
I would imagine it's well, not necessarily, but I'd imagine it's a safe bet.
Okay.
We see.
Is that the blue cycle land? Yeah, and we see a daze off the top for the Delver deck.
A remote island.
Ah, excellent.
So it's called it's a remote isle, so it's cycling 2.
So this isn't the...
But we've got a pretty good looking hand here. We've got a Muldrifter, a Pulse of Marassa, what looks like a Mystical Teachings, because we teachings for teachings.
Oh, yeah.
And Moment's Peace as well. Teachings for teachings is the most powerful thing you can do in Magic. Well, we see Ponder Days.
I feel like playing Tron and then playing like massive spells is pretty powerful as well.
It's pretty good. So we're going to see the Delver flip into Insectile Aberration. We're going to look at the top. We're going to see what looks like a
Bone Splitter. We're sending it back.
Okay,
Bone
not
Splitter
happy.
Gush. I think we're looking for a land.
Yeah.
Nah.
So because the hand's double days, we've got what looks like a Ponder, a Preordain. Well, just the Preordain. Now we're going to draw. Looks like an island came off the top.
No.
It looks like maybe a Spire Golem.
Yes,
yep,
that
Spire
is
Golem. So 6 mana, 2/4, affinity for islands.
Occasionally free.
Wow, affinity for islands. That is actually really cool to listen to.
Yeah.
We're going to see a Gush, and looks like those cards are going to the bottom. That is the coolest name. The coolest name for a rule I've ever heard is an affinity for islands.
Yeah.
These are wonderful.
Just really likes islands. I mean, next turn he can play him if he spends all 3 mana, but he'll still have double Gush up. You can't really daze this because it costs 1.
It looks like maybe a counter spell as well in hand. Definitely double days.
I don't think I would counter that. No. I think that's probably right. I think you're countering the payoffs of the Tron deck.
Yes, definitely. And we're going to see Spell Stutter Sprite off the top. We're going to see 3 mana. We're going to see the affinity for islands.
Well, exactly.
And Spire Golem. The 2
fairly safe. There's only a single Tron land in play. You don't have to worry about Tron land off the top. Yep. Now, Seagate Oracle.
Now this one I can see definitely getting dazed.
That's a daze.
Especially with your opponent not hitting any lands.
And you not hitting any lands.
Yes. We're going to see another island into play.
He did just draw one off the top.
But it's fine because you can just play another Spire Golem as well.
Yeah.
And Real get the beatdown going. Going to see hit
I
for
wouldn't
2.
be against that.
Yeah, I think your opponent's clearly missing lands.
Yeah, but your opponent wins in the late game if you let them. So I'm not against that. But holding up counter. Are we still holding up a counter?
Looks like we're holding up actual counter spell.
Yes.
We're going to tap 3, and we could also pay for days.
This is Forbidden Alchemy.
Forbidden Alchemy. Yeah. I think you may just actually hardcast days on this one.
I would
you're going to let it go off.
We're going to let it go. I would have been real tempted to just be like, no lands for you.
This looks like Prophetic Prism, Bajuka Bog, and something else hits the graveyard. We find another Tron piece here.
2 Tron pieces up now.
Yeah, this
now
is why.
you have to hold the counter spell
Yep.
up.
We've got a Ponder off the top, which is good. Spell Stutter Sprite. We got another.
That's unfortunate. We can play that for 2 and still hold up that
that
counter
is
spell.
now that is pretty good. We see an attack for 2. However, I still would have played it last turn. But that's just me.
You're still holding up days, and I would have dazed the.
Yes,
anyway,
exactly.
This is my plays.
This is your plays. It's fine.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
Personal plays are what is the best thing.
Yeah, it's amusing, obviously, that the Tron deck, in that its primary lands produce 0 coloured mana, can just play all 5 colours.
Yes, it is quite beautiful to see. Prophetic Prism is quite a good card.
Yes, absolutely. Just cycle into other colours. This is a
so is Prismatic Lens as well.
We're going to see a
hard cast.
No, he both cast it hard and bounced a land back to his hand. Okay. I imagine that's land bounced back to hand, 2 blue floated for no good reason.
Just in case. We're going to see the 3rd Spire.
Still holding up counter spell.
Pretty good. 3 Spire Golems into play.
Yeah, this is a very fast clock now.
Yep, Callum down to 10 at the moment.
2-turn clock, even with removal spell on turn, on not the next turn, but the turn after. You're still staring down death.
I think I might have. I mean, you're in such a position; it's quite difficult. You may have had to evoke the. Yeah, we're going to see a Flame Slash. Yeah, I think you'd let this one go.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
You still got 4 points of power each for each turn of attack.
I mean, it is a 3-turn clock now as opposed to a 4-turn clock, but you need to not just die to a massive.
So Fairy Miscreant into play. Interesting that all these spells have been cast pre-combat.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. We're seeing a Ponder on the stack and a hold.
Think you Teachings now?
Yeah, I'm not against that. Just while your opponent seems to be tapped a little low.
Yes, and you can go fetch up like. Yep, going for the Mystical Teachings. The 3 and a blue. Search your library for an instant card or a card with flash. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. And we're going to see it not resolve though. Getting a counter spell.
Getting a counter spell out of hand though is not nothing.
No, it's pretty good.
I'm not going to say that that's nothing because that seems pretty good.
You just typed Mystical Teaching into the player name.
I did indeed.
How on earth did you do that?
Because we didn't change the tab.
You are clever. So our player is Callum. So yeah, it's already there. So
yeah. Sorry about this.
Please excuse my colleague. He can't read today.
Yes.
And then what we do is we go to Show Card Image section.
You mean we go to the correct tab?
Type in the Mystical Teachings. Going to see another attack here for 4 from the Spire Golems. Looks like a Ninja of the Deep Hours has entered the hand, which is pretty good. It's a nice one to draw this turn. Spell Stutter Sprite in hand as well. Teachings having tapped out Emil now, so we'll have to see what he can do from here. Can he find that 3rd Tron piece? We're going to see what looks like Mnemonic Wall coming into play here.
That seems good.
Gets back Forbidden Alchemy.
Yeah. And it doesn't actually hold anything down, but fortunately there's
a ninja.
There's no. Oh, yep, there we go. Can't block the. No,
can't block the 6 damage.
Yeah, 6 damage in.
So Mnemonic Wall, Defender 04, enters the battlefield, return target instant or sorcery card from Graveyard hand. Now that was a limited All-Star.
That was great.
That card is great, and I imagine it was pretty good in Iconic Masters. I never did an Iconic Masters draft or anything.
Oh, see,
but I imagine it was pretty good.
It was pretty good in Iconic Masters.
No, in the M set when it was there. It was pretty good. Returning, I think you had Opportunity in the same set.
Oh, wow.
Someone did cast Opportunity, untap, make a wall, get it back. I was like, that's broken. That's powerful.
Busted. That seems great.
May have been. I think it was that limited format. I have seen it done before. It was pretty horrible.
So the Mono Blue Tron player will now the Mono Blue Delver player will now have to take out basically all of the Spell Stutter sprites. In my opinion,
they're pretty bad.
They're really bad in this deck. Against this deck, you are probably.
I like this one. This one seems pretty good.
You might be able to cut them off of coloured mana with a null.
Yeah.
Which is.
But then you're taking out some pretty bad cards anyway. So I mean, you're looking at a nulls, dispels, gutshot, hydroblast, curse of chains, stormbound geist. Maybe you bring the stormbound geist because it's another flyer attacker.
I like the stormbound geist. It just clocks your opponent a little bit faster. You are definitely the beatdown in this particular matchup as the Mono Blue Tron player, Mono Blue Delver player. Wow, that's. Yeah.
And I think one of the things you do have to think about with this is that your opponent may be on a Tron deck, but they're not like a fast Tron deck making a Khan or something. It's a fast Tron deck making a spell, which might be a Seagate Oracle, a Mnemonic Wall, a Mold Drifter, and then they have a lot of actual spells, but they're not killing you by making Tron early.
There are a couple of ways they can pay off, and I don't think we're seeing it in this deck. I think this is just the good value. We're playing 5-color
with
pile
Rolling
deck.
Thunder.
Yeah, Rolling Thunder is a real beating, because for some reason in the first limited set that came out in, it was a common.
Yeah, I don't understand that one, but okay.
No. Reprinted at more correct rarity,
Yes.
of course. We also see that the Tron player gets to bring in the Pyroblast, which seem excellent, and an Electrolyze.
Yeah, so we're looking at Hydroblast, Pyroblast, Ancient Grudges, Echoing Truths, Moment's Peace, Crypt Incursions.
Not in this matchup, no.
And then you also have Tranquility. Again, not for this one. Coalition Honor Guard while choosing targets as part of casting or activating spell an ability, your opponent may.
It's another flag bearer.
It is another flag bearer, which is obviously great. Maybe in this, but then again, your creatures aren't really that much high value.
No, and your opponents aren't pointing removal spells at them.
Yes.
The only removal spell that the mono blue deck plays is Vapor Snack.
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see. But neither player has an awful lot to bring in. I think it's the thing to bear from this matchup. So neither player has a lot.
This is something that I found while I was playing. Now, I played the Scred version of Delver.
Okay.
And I played against a Tron player as well at the weekend.
Bearing in mind, Scred, for those of you who don't know, is a red mana sorcery. Instant. Deal damage to target creature equals the number of snow-covered permanents you can draw. And it is permanent, so Scrying Sheets, for those who play in modern Scred Red, Scrying Sheets is a snow-covered permanent. There are a few other things, but it looks like we have an interesting hand here. Because we've got the blue-green life gain land, 2 pieces of Tron, a Unknown Shores, I believe is the card name as well. And the pass, we're going to pass. Yeah, Unknown Shores there, and a couple of blue spells. We're going to see an island.
More ways of cycling into
another island
coloured mana.
Into a Delver of Secrets.
Delver turn 1 seems good.
Didn't have a Condescend in hand there by the looks of it. An island off the top. Looks like we're going to make a Power Plant as our turn 2 land. Looks like a Mold Drifter and another blue spell. I couldn't tell you exactly what that was from here. He is flicking his cards rather quickly. Looks like a. I did actually see what the card was.
Yeah.
It's not. Actually looked at that one because it was a one-of in the deck that I was looking at. So we see another Delver. It didn't flip.
There looks like a counter spell that gets countered by a Daze.
Yes. So the second Delver into play.
Oh, I know what it is. It's one in a blue. One in a blue counter target spell. I'll bring it up.
Counter target spell if its converted mana cost is 2 or less. If you paid the kicker cost, as it kicks for 2, counter spell converted spell of 4 or less instead. But we see the Mold Drifter revoked here to draw 2 cards from Callum and a pass back of the turn. Are we going to see the Delvers flip? No, but we do see another island off the top here for Emil, and the Ninja of Deep Hours probably going to be coming down. Maybe we play the Augur of Bolas instead. I like the beatdown plan. I like beatdown.
Beats for 1.
Beats by Dr. Dre, I believe, is what you're looking for there, Jack. But we're going to see an attack here. We're going to return a Delver back. And Ninja of the Deep Hours, draw of the card. We see a Ponder, which is a very good draw if they don't flip next turn.
Exactly.
Nice setup card. A pass back of the turn. And what do we find? We know he has an Unknown Shores in hand and at least has a Pulse of Morassel, which is obviously a very nice combo with the Mold Drifter.
Excellent.
And we see another Tower by the looks of it as the Tron land. We see a Condescend, which I wouldn't mind holding up if we're able to do anything with it.
Excellent counter spell in a deck that can produce 10 mana.
Yeah. Condescend obviously is the one that you pay X. So it's blue X. It's counter unless you pay 4, scry 2. Depends if you can spell Condescend.
I don't know if I can.
No.
I cannot.
Condescend. It's an E, not an I believe.
I believe you are correct, sir.
I don't know. We'll soon find out. So we see another Delver into
with
play.
magic.
We see a Relic of Progenitors of the draw part. Oh, no. Right. Back to the laptop then.
No, we've explained the card. It's
oh, no, we haven't. I think we've
too.
systematically failed to do the card properly.
Yeah, possibly.
Right, let's work out how to do this properly. So, Condescend X blue.
Yep.
Counter target spell as Connor plays X, scry 2. So yeah, a hugely important card for the Tron deck because it's able to then try and scry and find that third Tron piece, because if it can, then it turns this deck on. We also see a Forbidden Alchemy in hand. We're going to see an attack for 3 here. We're going to see a 3 mana. We're going to see the Forbidden Alchemy. We're going to see at least one red spell. There's
like a bolt. I think I'd be taking the bolt.
There's a red removal spell there, which I wouldn't mind sending straight at the ninja.
But it might be a flame slash, which means that we can't.
Yeah, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Looked like there was another power plant there, not the land you're looking for, so he takes one of them. Yep, so we're going to put those 3. Looks like another Prohibit, a power plant, and a Pulse of Marasa
into the graveyard.
Forbidden Alchemy. We take 3 damage. We get to draw another card. That Ninja the Deep Power going off. Maybe we see a Spire Golem as well, but I think
we've made our land drop for the turn. We can't play it, unfortunately.
Now, what would have been interesting is had that been a bolt, the ninja didn't connect, the Delvers wouldn't be flipping, because I think the next one's probably going to be a spell.
Yeah.
That would have been hilarious.
That would have been great, yeah. As we said, I'm confused by the Spellstutter Sprite still in hand. That doesn't feel like that's very good in this matchup.
No, it doesn't.
Your opponent's early things to try and find Tron, yeah, occasionally you get to counter them. Occasionally.
Oh, it looked like it was a Rolling Thunder.
So the deck does have the Rolling Thunder payoff. Okay, that's...
you do almost clear the entire board.
I'd be interested.
Yeah, like you have to play into days is the only thing. Because you have to you play a land, you do your Rolling Thunder will do
here we go.
3 at the moment. Why would you not just play a land and do it for 4 and get rid of everything? Oh, he doesn't have a land, that's why.
There we go.
I thought he did have a land in hand.
I don't know. Okay.
Well, we don't have to worry about the Delver flipping.
Yes,
there was a gush. There was a gush that was on top.
It was a gush, yes, absolutely. And as you say, if you go Mystical into Bolt and you've left a non-instant or sorcery on top.
However, what we do now see is a hand of not very powerful cards.
No,
apart from Spire Golem.
There's also a gush in there, like you
looks
still
like
dig into things.
Looks like there's an Augur Bolas, a Spire Golem, a pair of Spellstutter Sprites. I think you made the Augur Bolas as well.
I am interested in the Augur Bolas.
And
the only problem is
as well.
Your Repping counter spell here, and there's a possibility that you'll even have it if you find something that you absolutely positively have to counter.
Yes.
You gush, you bounce those 2 lands that are tapped, and you try and get
2 mana for Prophetic Prism being tapped by Callum.
This is why the Fairy Miscreant here is the Spellstutter Sprite rather is not good. Can't even counter the
can't counter anything at the moment.
No. This is...
Like, it protects you from a bolt, and that's about it.
Yeah.
We're going to see another tower enter play. Not quite achieved Tron yet, though.
Still not the Tron piece you want, no.
We're going to untap.
But I mean, when you do get there...
And another Spellstutter Sprite off the top here, and land number 5 into play for Emil.
I mean,
I think Flooded would be to describe Emil's draw at the moment, but he does have the Gush, which does help. You could float 2 mana and Gush now, and play the Augur Bolas as well with that mana.
Be really interested in that play. Preordain first. I'm not against it.
Another, that's a good, one of those cards is good, one of those is not so good. But interesting enough, yep, so
no, there we go.
Island to the bottom, and then he's going to draw the Spire Golem and pay for it with 1 island.
Mana, love it.
Looks like there's a tower and a power plant in play still for the Tron deck. So we're going to attack for 4, down to 8 for Callum. It's getting a bit close at the moment.
So the Spellstutter Sprites can be used in multiples. You can play one, play another one, and counter a 2 CMC spell with the second trigger. As long as your opponent, obviously. There's another tower.
So still not found the Tron piece.
We're still looking for a mine here, but as soon as we do, it's just...
However, will it be too late is the only question that we do have. The Rolling Thunder has already been used by Callum.
We've got Pulse of Marasa in hand. That'll gain 6 life.
Yeah.
That gives you a little bit of a buffer.
Yep.
As long as your opponent doesn't counter it.
Which he can now, because he's drawn so many Spellstutter Sprites.
Yeah, amusingly, all he has to do... And the Fairy Miscreant does this as well.
Yes.
So he can actually go... Sprite,
for 4.
Counter a free.
So attack for 6, sorry. Callum down to 2. Emil draws a Ponder for the turn. I don't want to play that one. I just want to hold up my stuff.
I want to hold up my stuff. Yeah. I mean, if... Yep, and we're going to go to end step, and we're going to see Electrickery.
Oh. Now we're going to see the Spellstutter Sprite. Yes, we get to counter something, and we're going to condescend that for, well, enough.
Some number, that's fine, because we'll flash in the other Spellstutter
and it doesn't counter it.
No.
But we can counter the Electrickery, so that resolves.
Really
yep. So we can resolve this.
Yep. you get to scry 2. Yeah,
Okay.
we've built the stack.
Yes.
Yeah, and these are all tapped. Now, I imagine that Emil is considering the fact that his opponent has left 2 mana up. Now, not that he needed to spend that 2 mana to make the condescend far too large for Emil to pay for it.
He's going to let it resolve.
He's going to let it all resolve. Scry 2.
Interesting.
Okay. I kind of feel like...
Looks like you get your dream come true.
yeah, I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, I thought you might be happy with that one.
So we have just been passed a note by Alexi.
The man in charge.
The man in charge.
Saying that we should be able to bring the professor into the booth for a chat between this round and the start of the next one. Now, he didn't want to go on camera, so that's why we haven't actually had him on camera, which is fair enough. Not got a problem with that.
Yeah.
However, I'm going to let Jack do this one so I don't break his heart and ruin his dreams. But we see the Delver deck here. The electric, we should be in the graveyard, but we're still trying to resolve that scry by the looks of it at the moment. Still not sure on that other card and what he wants to do with it quite yet. The Delver deck, funnily enough, full of cards in hand and a couple of spell stutter sprites in the Augur of Bolas still to go with an attack for 6 in the air next turn. Callum needs to find something and find it now.
Yes, absolutely. Well, this game is just going to be over next turn.
Fog Effect might get him there for a turn.
Yeah, if he can find a moment's peace.
But we'll have to find out. But the Delver deck, full of cards and a Gush, which you can obviously use in the end step. Use some of those lands that aren't really doing a lot else.
Yeah, Emil, in comparison to what a lot of Delver decks want to get to, this is pretty badly flooded, actually.
What, with cards in hand or with lands in play?
With lands in play. And we're okay. I thought that was a Seagate Oracle in hand for Callum there.
Yes, we're going to see Mystical Teachings. So untap and Teachings.
Excellent. Okay.
That one resolves.
Yes. If you're going to fight about this, you're going to fight on your turn, but it is going to resolve. Now, this is probably going to go and get a moment's peace right here.
Yeah, you've got to feel that that's what he needs to find right now.
I think that's your only way out.
And you get to flash it back the following turn as well, which is obviously good. It gives you a few turns, maybe find the mine as well, and then you go off.
I
but
mean,
again,
you could also pulse a Marassa and hope that they don't have
get
a
back
way
the
of
Mold Drifter.
pushing more damage through or anything like that. Yeah.
I think getting back the Mold Drifter is actually not a bad idea.
And then you can start.
Yeah, so
there we go. Pulse and Marassa.
He is going to cast Pulse, get back the Mold Drifter, by the looks of it. Or does he get back something else?
No,
there's no lands to get, so I think Mold Drifter is the card. Yep. So he's going to return Mold Drifter to hand, gain 6 life, go to 8. It's not dead yet.
No.
He is dead, however, if Emil decides to make the spell strike in the end step.
Yeah.
And then Ninja of the Deep Hours.
With the most awesome ability name.
No, didn't do it. Your opponent tapped out. Could have killed him.
No. This was Emil's upkeep.
Oh,
he still hasn't had his turn.
Ah, okay.
So
this is good play from Callum. So we're going to see 1 mana.
Yep.
We're going to see a Ponder. But he had 2 mana in last turn at the end of his end step. The spell start sprites aren't doing anything. I'd much rather make it and then ninja something.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I would have tried that.
We see
like your spell starter sprite isn't countering anything.
Nope. We see actual factual counterspell as well, which is a good draw.
That seems like an excellent draw, in fact.
And draw another spell. We've now found all 4 spell stutter sprites this game.
Seems
That's what
great.
we want to see. We're going to see her discard of the Augur of Bolas and pass the turn back. It's just looking pretty grim.
Does not want to tap out for anything.
Oh, we found...
Is that the mine? No. Oh, it is.
We found a mine. We found a mine. And they called it a mine. We found the mine. So 4 mana. Sorry, 3 mana being tapped. Because the power plant makes 2.
I'm going to let the modern player do Tron, man.
I will do Tron, man. Then we're going to see a Mold Drifter evoked into play. Now, can you counterspell that?
No. They've already got the piece that they need. You need to be able to stop the...
No, we're going to counterspell it.
You need to be able to stop the payoff.
Yep, which he now has in the form of the flashback Mystical Teachings, and he can find at that moment's peace. And unfortunately, we are now going to play 4 mana, and in response, we're going to Forbidden Alchemy in response.
Interesting.
Looks like we're looking for a counterspell, which is fascinating. So, 4 cards. There's a Flame Slash. That doesn't save you.
No.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by that line of play.
Yeah, I would have just Mystical Teachings for moment's peace and try to survive.
Yeah.
See what happens. Your opponent can't play 3 spell stutter sprites in a turn right now, unfortunately. Can't get wrecked by that.
That is pretty harsh, actually. It's
be pretty harsh. So, unless he already has a moment's peace in hand, that's all we can assume.
that's possible.
And the
that
flame
is possible
slashes.
that he has just naturally drawn it, but the in response nature of that feels like.
So we're going to tap 3 mana again, and we're going to make a Seagate
Oracle,
which does block.
It blocks ninja, does not block lethal.
Take one of those. We take another land.
It did not look like a moment's peace either. It looked like a prism. Because I think it was a prism.
4 mana being tapped.
Yep, because that's a tower.
Unless you've got something to destroy all artifacts, which is all I can assume he has. Because otherwise you wouldn't be playing it this way.
Yeah, I mean...
he gets to return...
That's Ghostly Flicker, yeah?
Yep, Ghostly Flicker, so we return those back, we draw another card.
Okay, we're just digging.
No, that's more lands than the shake of the hands.
It is.
Didn't take our line. We could have teachings for teachings. No, but if you still have Moment's Peace in your hand, I think you have to just teachings.
Yeah.
And find Moment's Peace. It gives you another turn to find something else, especially after your opponent counterspells your Mole Drifter. But anyways, that means that Mono Blue Delver takes down the Tron, or 5-color pile, depending on how you want to look at it. 2 games to 0 and marches on to 3 games and no losses. Unfortunately, Callum dropping to 2-1 for the day today. Now, we do have to take a bit of a look, because we need to work out if he has finished or not.
It looks like he has just finished.
Looks like he's just finished his game. So I'm now going to make I'm going to make Jack's night. I'm not going to ruin it for him. He's going to have his moment. We're going to go get the professor, and I'm going to let this man interview him for you, because it's probably more appropriate you do it than me. Because, quite frankly, I haven't got a foggy about what to ask this man, because I'd start asking him about rares and mythics, and it's probably not as appropriate in this game. I'd be asking him about, how do you feel about this new card that came out? And I feel that you'd be much better suited to answering the questions.
How do you feel about Rekindling Phoenix in the format? Seems broken.
Seems really powerful. Seems like a really powerful 4/3.
Well, yeah, occasionally.
It's pretty good. It may not be. It could be pretty bad as well.
Yeah.
Like Scarab God seems pretty good in this format.
Some of these matches, the
it'll
long
be really
game
good.
ones, yeah.
Against some of them, it'd be utter garbage.
Scarab God Mole Drifter.
Oh, hello. The value has been attained. So what we're going to do, we're going to put the BRB screen on, and Jack will be back very momentarily with the professor to do a very short interview, which I'm sure all of you watching at home are waiting with bated breath for. We're going to try and coax him into the booth. I'm going to take a step out. The professor will step in, and Jack will carry out the interview of his life. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you momentarily.
We are back, and I have a very special guest with
Oh,
us.
who is it? Who is it?
So humble. So I have the professor with us, and obviously I have to ask you about Pauper now, because
Yes.
this is the biggest movement in Magic since Commander, I would probably argue.
I'm seeing some interesting parallels to Commander. A lot of people were chatting about that actually in between rounds, because Commander was a very fan-generated format. Wizards of the Coast was actually not a big fan of it for a long time until they realized they could monetize it, and then they changed that tune. But here we're seeing people having fun playing a format that I like to call Legacy Light. It's a format that lets you, even though you're restricted to commons only, still play with cards from throughout Magic's history, Lightning Bolt and Doomblade and Gush, and I just threw a 25-26 ATOG at my opponent's head. That was fun, and that was after it ate up the banned in most other formats, Mirrodin Artifact lands. It's a powerful format. It's got such a diversity of decks. My opponents were talking to me about how they've either homebrewed some of their decks or fine-tuned them. There's so much room for flexibility, and yet at the same time, it's highly competitive. It's old-school Magic in many ways, and it's not very expensive, despite some recent prices on the rise. It's still cheaper than Standard, and unlike Standard, it's eternal, meaning that those cards will never rotate out, which I think a lot of people appreciate as well.
I love it, because as a person who grinds Standard PPTQs,
yes,
having something to come back to and know that it is the same and that I can always play these cards is just amazing.
Yes.
And as you say, you could build. We were looking into it. You can build an entire gauntlet for what it would cost you to play Standard for like 6 months.
Oh yeah, I know. And then in 6 months, flush those decks down the loo. And I was going to say
toilet.
You're getting the
dialect.
I need to. I imagine now, as most of your audience from the UK or Europe, or have you ever looked in there?
So we actually had someone calling in from Peru.
Ooh, Peru,
yes,
lovely.
Someone mentioned in chat that they were in Peru.
That's awesome.
But I mean, our time
Viva,
schedule
yes.
would suggest that we're probably on.
Yeah,
the
that's what
European-
happens with Twitch a lot. Well, that's
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful.
No, but I would really love to ask you, like, where do you see it going? Because you've sort of jokingly mentioned Pauper GPs.
Oh, there's no joke about it.
Thank you. That is what I wanted to hear.
So this is the way I see it. Wizards of the Coast doesn't like Pauper. They don't see it. They didn't like Commander, and then they saw a way to make money, and so maybe their tune will change with Pauper. But as of today, if we were to strap down R&D and upper management at Wizards of the Coast into chairs and inject them with truth serum and said, what do you think of Pauper? They would all moan and groan and say, we hate it. We wish we could get away with it. We tried to get it off Magic Online, but people stopped us. They caught us trying to disable it on Magic Online, and we wish we could do the same for Paper. We do not like that the professor is promoting Pauper. We don't like that people are playing Pauper. So my goal right now is to hell with can I say that on your stream? Is that too strong language?
I would suggest
to heck.
not.
To
There
heck.
we go.
To heck with them. Let's go around. Let's go around them. We're going to go to Channel Fireball, Star City Games, and any other major tournament providers, because at that point, WotC has no control. And so a Pauper GP, that's my goal. Wizards does have to approve that. However, other major places like Star City Games, they have full reign, and a Pauper Open, they just have to say the word. And they are already doing a Pauper they have weird names for other things. A Pauper big game. They're doing a big Pauper, whatever it's called, optional
classic. Yes.
Yes, sir. They're doing a Pauper Classic this summer, which is probably going to break the record that GP London set of 302 Pauper players. I think we should pit Channel Fireball, Star City Games, Card Kingdom, and any other major tournament houses against each other and say, let's see who gets the most butts in the seat. Let's see who says the biggest events. And then at a certain point, you get so loud that Wizards of the Coast can't ignore you, or even if they continue to, Pauper's already being played. So we'll go right around them to the people who do want to provide the gameplay experience that a lot of people want. And a lot of people do want Pauper, as you can see by this giant crowd here tonight. Look at this.
This is bigger than some pre-releases we see. This is bigger than PPTQ sometimes. This is a serious event, and these are not casual games of Magic. This
That's
is
right.
not. This is not we're here for fun. This is competitive
Oh yes,
Magic.
this is indeed competitive, and you know, I know you have the special guest out here tonight, but here's the thing I'd say. It's like, so if anybody's like cynically saying, oh, look at that giant crowd, they just came out because you had a special guest, I'd say, hang on, they all have their Pauper decks. I know that you here at Darksphere have a fantastic selection of cards and singles, but these people did not just all come up and buy their decks from you tonight. Maybe someone did, but not many of them, any of them. And so they already had their decks. They might have, you know, kind of come on down with a little extra excitement because of special guests, but the decks are here. The gameplay is happening. I hope we see them come back next week. And I hope that your local game store, those of you watching, does offer Pauper. And if they don't, maybe you should ask and try and get something going.
Yeah, all it takes is a few players. As you've proved, all it takes is a players willing to say, we want this. This is the thing we're interested in. So, no, that's great to see. I would love to take some more of your time.
Yes, please.
Excellent,
you've got until the next round.
Oh, okay, excellent.
I'm currently 2-1 with Affinity, and we shall see if I can eke out that 3-1. I just barely beat Mono Blue Delver. Ooh, that was a tough one. I got stomped by a horde of elves round 2, and I managed to out-blitz Blitz round 1. So that's how my night has been so far. It's some intense gameplay,
such a wide format as well, right?
Very wide.
We've only had one of the same decks, and even then it was Izzet versus Mono Blue Delver.
Right.
There's enough variation there. So you brought your Affinity deck, and obviously you were saying earlier that you can't bring every deck all the way to the UK just to play a couple of events.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Is Affinity like your favorite thing? I've seen your video on it, and I loved you talking about ATOG. And
I do love that ATOG.
That ATOG, I'm assuming you've got the original art.
I do.
Well.
I got the Antiquities with that creepy original art. I love it.
So creepy.
I love it. I love it. It's not my favorite, so I like to favorite for me in Magic. You know, for anybody out there, if your favorite format's Commander, you probably have a bunch of Commander decks. If your favorite format's Modern or Legacy, you probably have a bunch of those decks standard. Pauper, I obviously have a lot of Pauper decks, but favorite is hard. I like to say if I had to simply choose one to only play that one for the rest of my life, which one would I pick? And so I would probably pick in Pauper right now. I would lean towards, this is a bit of a controversial choice perhaps, but I would lean towards Kuldotha Boros. Now, Kuldotha Boros, the reason I'd pick it, it's not the best deck out there by far. It's very good. You can 5-0 a league on Magic Online with it just fine. But the reason why I would pick Kuldotha Boros is because it does a little bit of everything, and everything it does is fun. And so you can Galvanic Blast with Metalcraft. You can bounce a ETB effect card with Glinthawk. You can bring in some more Metalcraft creatures. It's a lot of fun in that sense. And I like the way that it's flexible, that it has the ability to shift between styles of play. And so it's the deck that I would probably want to keep with me just for my own personal enjoyment.
And again, like you say, it's
Skyfisher is so good.
I love Skyfisher.
Oh.
We saw it fully going off on camera.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, go back and
Beautiful.
watch it.
They
just grooved like 6 or 7 cards in a turn, just flickering things back to hand. It was kind of impressive, actually.
Yes.
But we've also, as I say, seen a lot of brews. Now, are you a brewer or are you a tweaker?
I'm a tweaker.
Yeah.
Personally, I have such admiration and respect for brewers because they sit down and they lay out all the different pieces and make and engineer these connections. But I love to take my screwdriver to the machine that someone else has built, take off the casing, and then start upgrading the motherboard. And so the rest of it is all in there. The display, maybe we don't need to change in this particular machine, but then I will upgrade the processor or what have you. Or maybe I'll have some kind of weird microchip that I picked up in Taiwan, and it's totally illegal out here, and we're gonna hot rod it into there. I really like that kind of like tinker, effect. And so a lot of the deck techs I do on my YouTube channel are much more template based and not optimized, because I like to encourage others to do the same, which is I say, no, this is not the best list for Pauper Affinity. It's the basic list for Pauper Affinity. Take it, take a look, and then see what changes you would like to make, because in many ways that is a part of Magic as well, is having control over the cards in your deck.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You give us a cause of a deck. And if we wanted a list that we wanted to just take into a league, there's MTG Goldfish supports Pauper,
Yes.
which is fantastic.
They do.
It's what we've been using all night to find out what people are playing. Speaking of online,
Yes.
competitive leagues. I
Oh,
mean,
yes.
obviously, as you say, Wizards has to support it. You'd be in favour of that? Because, again, as I say, it's,
Well,
it's not a friendly format. You could...
Oh, but Wizards thinks it is. They're just those Pauper players. They're just having fun with their commons, don't you know? That's how they view it. And so I don't care what they call the leagues. You know what I want? Never mind. Never mind what they call the league. Go on to MTGO, play in a league. We have really good numbers as is, and one day when our numbers are tied with Modern and ahead of Legacy in terms of the leagues, there you go. Like someone pointed out that the number of players in Pauper at GP London was more or less equal to the number of players that were simultaneously playing in the Double Up Modern event at GP London, and they said, think about that. That really shows the power of interest in Pauper. I don't advocate too much us going after Wizards just because I know that their response is nope. But I do feel that focusing on your local game store, focusing on your play group, and focusing on are we okay here?
Yeah, we're good.
We're good.
We're fine.
And focusing on the large tournament providers. Is there a Star City Games equivalent out here? So you got Channel Fireball does GPs. If it isn't for Channel Fireball GP, is there somebody who puts on big tournaments or events that people might drive out to or fly out to that isn't quite a GP but might be on that level, or is it just looking for them at the game stores?
It's mostly game stores here, it has to be said. We've got a few that run very big events. Axion Now, which is in Amersham.
Someone mentioned them to me, yes.
They run excellent modern events. They're actually running a PPTQ in Standard this weekend.
Okay, very nice.
And they run very large events. They ran our Nationals last year. They put on large, well-funded events, which draw a lot of players from all over the country, actually. So they do give those. But we've also got, we've got open series out in Dartford, so that this is I would say a labour of love of someone. It's not even they own a shop. It's they want to see Magic played, and they put on these events out in a hall in Dartford, and that's another thing. There are a few in the north, but I can't for the life of me remember. I think Fanboy Free runs a few bigger events, but realistically, there isn't a company running events outside of it. We had it a couple of years ago, Magic Madhouse, who you may have seen.
I've heard of them, yes.
They were at the GP. They sold people a lot of their Pauper cards because obviously they could go back to their warehouse on Friday
handy.
night and they could grab some more.
That's very handy.
They were actually running big standard open style events and that kind of things leading up to an invitational. So if someone like that could be convinced to run a Pauper event, based on the numbers we see from GP London, and just the general interest at the moment, and like I say, we've got almost 50 players in here tonight.
Yeah, it's packed in here. This is, if we could turn this camera around, it's just people all the way in this
we
giant.
will take
this
a
is
picture
a great
of this
card
and
store.
Tweet it out in a minute, guys, because this is amazing.
Yes, and if you're in the London area, I cannot recommend enough for people to come down to Dark Sphere. At GP London, so many people who did not know I was coming down here simply said to me, you should check out Dark Sphere while you're here, and began singing the praises not only of the store and its selection, but of the people playing here. And I really can confirm both that this store is amazing. We walked in, it's just all the wonderful nerd stuff that we love, and it's a great sight to see. But the people and the crowd in here, I'm actually feeling a little overwhelmed by the sense of community, and everybody's hanging out. And, whenever I've been at events where I see people lose and they look sour and they're upset and I'm seeing people, they're laughing so hard with their friends and making friends. And I came down here with a buddy who hasn't been in here before, and he's already made 5 friends and chatting, and it's such a great atmosphere. So if you are in the area, and not an endorsement, I shill for Card Kingdom, not Dark Sphere, so you know I'm telling the truth when I say that Dark Sphere is a fantastic place. And if you are in the area or you're visiting, come on down and check it out, because I'm so glad that I did.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's lovely to hear. And yeah, Monday night is always Pauper. We have Pauper leagues on. They're run by. It's not even run by the store. It's run by members of the community. It's a labor of love. The people love this format. If you want to come down for Legacy or Modern, see Dark Sphere's website. But thank you very much, Professor.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for being here and for talking to us and for enjoying this, because
thanks for having me, because this is you and your store and your community putting this out here, and I just got to come by and see it, so I'm very happy. So look at what you all did out here. It's fantastic.
Thank you very much. And we will be right back with the final round of the evening, and we will see you in a moment.
It is that time, ladies and gentlemen, for our final round of Magic here from our Monday Night Pauper, and 2 new decks yet again on stream. We have Mono Black, I believe, Control, not sure if it's creature or creatureless. And for those of the players of us who do not have a knowledge of all these really ancient cards, the other side of the table we have a heroic deck, which is quite a new mechanic, and hopefully we should be able to know a few more of the cards. So, John Partridge, Jack Patton, round number 4 of coverage here from Monday Night Pauper from Darkster in London. Round number 4, our final round. Let's see the players and see what they can do. We're going to send it down to the feature match area where the players are ready. We're going to give them the go-ahead, and we'll be on to round 4.
So, as John mentioned, what we are looking at is Mono Black. I personally haven't seen the deck, so I'm imagining Control. But the other deck will be a heroic deck, and we see straight off...
The Gorman Trailblazer to start with. The white 0-4 with heroic. So obviously, for those of you who don't know, heroic mechanic is...
when you target a creature that you control with a spell or ability, I believe it's ability, certainly a spell, such as you will see here with an aura enchantment.
Cartouche of...
Solemnity. Solidarity, sorry.
Solidarity. Which is +1/+1.
And first strike,
and...
make a lifelinking cat.
No, make a vigilant 1/1. Oh, we got him. We got him, boys.
And Penumbra armor. Wham! Get there.
The hyena Umbra. So the second one is the hyena Umbra, which is +1/+1, and it has totem armor. So should the creature be destroyed, it doesn't get destroyed, and instead it is a...
China's Edict protection.
Let me finish first.
Oh, sorry. All right.
Should it be destroyed, instead destroy the Umbra and the creature survives. Yeah, China's Edict is the both players sacrifice a creature?
No. Only one player sacrifices a creature.
Now it looks like we have another Cartouche of Solidarity.
And we're going to make that
pretty big.
Yeah.
And another Cartouche of Solidarity.
Now this is, it has to be said, the best possible way to go with this, because obviously with the armor on, with the totem armor on, the Laguna Trailblazer is very well protected from your single target removal spells. Normally you would want an Edict. We have Edict protection as we speak.
You need 2 removal spells now. So we're going to see an attack for 4, 5, 6, 7... 8 damage, 9 damage, because we have a vigilant token as well. They're just coming to play.
Just coming to play. Yeah, there we go.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points of damage.
This might just be over.
Yeah, it might be. Yes. Though Liliana Spectre.
Okay. Yes.
Is the battlefield. Okay. So we're going to see a discard of a Seeker of the Way. Now that is a lethal Laguna Band Trailblazer. So I imagine it's getting chump blocked quite a lot.
Yes, but still getting in for 2. And
still getting in for 2 points of damage, putting the lead down to 6. Yeah, looks like we've got a chump block here. Yes, that does require a block, so we're going to take 2, go down to 6. Quite a good start from Daniel. And we see an Akron Skyguard, 2 mana, 1/1 flyer with heroic. We see a Sign in Blood off the top there for Maxwell Lee. Probably not what he's looking for.
No, we've got a Disfigure in hand, which is not going to get the job done. And
no,
that is
done.
Game. We are done here. Let us go to scoop phase. And that is it for Game 1. What do we think we could actually see out of the sideboard for Mono Black? I mean...
Where's my laptop gone? I will tell you. Let me fold my laptop up.
So, realistically...
Surprise, surprise, surprise. Now, do we think it's creatureless control from Mono Black, or do you think it's creatured?
No, I imagine it's creatured control, although I'm a little bit surprised by the Liliana Spectre, it has to be said. I was expecting a Chittering Rats there, which is far more classic version of the Mono Black control list, but it's not... It's not really very effective, other than giving you black pips for Gary.
Oh yes, the Grey Merchants of Asphodel, the reason to play black.
I actually just saw a Moment of Craving go past in the Mono Black deck. So pickups for this deck in the new Rivals Riksland
set. So here we go. So black, costing 32 ticks. It's a reasonable amount. Okay, white. I hope this is 29. So I hope this is the right deck. Yes. So we are looking at. Sort of things from the sideboard. Duress seems pretty good. No, Spell Bomb. Duress is good because it takes a spell, right?
Yes, absolutely. You get to take an aura out of their hand before they've done nonsense with it.
Death Deny, no. Nausea,
no.
Nope. Choking Sands,
no.
Nope. Unmake, yes.
Yes. Exile, instant.
Yeah.
Black.
It's a removal spell.
Yeah.
I think that's all we're looking for. And it's an exile spell, so it gets around the Umbras as well.
Yes, absolutely. Which means that you've both got Edict effects and the exile effects that can help you out there.
I think we could lose Wrench Mind, if I'm honest. That card doesn't seem great in this matchup.
Like, they're just going so fast. They only need one creature.
And you have to remember this deck's like multiple Edicts effects, Victim of Night again, which is another good removal spell. You can also play a fish, a very large fish for a very little amount of mana. The Grey
generally
Merchant
one.
Generally one, or two is this version we're looking at.
No, as in you can play it for one.
Oh yeah, you can play it for one. That's also quite good. Chittering Rats, enters the battlefield.
So as we said, the version that we're looking at still has the Kumbaji Witches in, but that's not necessarily the case with all of these mono black decks these days.
I'm sure it's
so
not.
It's interesting because of the pickup.
I'm looking at the first deck that came up.
I mean, no, absolutely. But what I'm saying is,
has it in
it's still very good against Delver, but most of the decks I've seen recently.
This one has Deadweight in it. That's a real good card.
That's a great card, actually. Pestilence is sort of colloquially, and I kind of feel incorrectly, known as poor man's oubliette, because it kills things, but is not an oubliette.
All of these have Kumbaji Witch.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe only some people are running. Yeah, that
deals 1 damage to target creature and 1 damage to target creature or player of an opponent's choice. How's that good? It kills your own. No, I suppose it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. All of your things have more than 1 toughness. And
apart
this
from
is
your Crypt Rats.
Yes, but your Crypt Rats are a win con.
Oh yeah, they are, aren't they?
You use them
deals
last.
X damage to each creature in each player. Yes, that's quite good.
Yes.
Spectre also has 1 toughness.
Yes.
But it's
which
an
is a
ETB
bit
trigger.
Odd, but
it's fun. It's an ETB trigger.
So the thing that I was going to say is a lot of the decks have started playing the new 1/1 vampire, the cantrips, the mini Phyrexian Ranger.
Oh, the High Legion Zealot.
The Dusk Legion Zealot.
Dusk Legion Zealot. That card is amazing.
Yep.
Is it common?
Yes.
Oh, it's even better. That card's amazing. Like,
I can tell you haven't prepped for the RPTQ yet.
I love that card. It's great. I played pre-release. I played pre-release. I did 1 draft. I drafted blue, green, Merfolk, and I crushed everyone because I drafted a pile of. I drafted 4 1-drops and 7 2-drops, and they all flew. Everyone passed me blue flyers. I didn't have any of the lords.
Odd.
They just passed. I got 3 commanding callers, the 1-drop 2/2.
Yeah.
Got 3 kite sail people who get the things. I got some other ones that attack pirates. I'm just like, okay, I guess I'm playing this.
We're doing this now.
I had 2 bounce spells. That was it. I did have a Forerunner though, and that found Jade Light Ranger. That was quite good fun.
Nice.
That was pretty good. And Speak of the Devil.
Dusk Legion Zealot.
Appears. We
draws Kumbaji Witches, I believe that is.
Looks like a Chainer's Edict. Found off the top.
You might be right.
We
actually
have a turn 2 Seeker of the Way. I can imagine this one being removed, and then a Chittering Rats to follow up.
Disfigure. I put the Disfigure
I
at
like
this,
the Disfigure.
as opposed
Just
to.
get rid of it.
Yep, absolutely.
Disfigure's just.
We're Chainer's Edicting.
Okay. I think I prefer the
Disfigure because it's Chainer's Edict is your only way of. Yeah, it loses. The Disfigure loses its power later on.
Yeah, especially if the next thing is like a Trailblazer.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he suits it up. But
yeah,
no second plane.
It can't even kill a Trailblazer, can
exactly, that's the thing, which is why you need the Edicts. We're going to see an attack for another one. We're going to see 4 mana being tapped, and it looks like we have a card. I have no idea what it says.
No.
Oh, I don't recognise that card. It looks. Oh no, it's
That
is.
Would you mind pulling out your laptop?
Yes. It looks like it's a card from the new set.
No.
Or Conspiracy.
I think it's a conspiracy card.
It's a conspiracy
oh! This might be the 1/3 that when it enters the battlefield, you become the monarch, and it's a 1/3 with Death Touch.
Okay.
That
it does look like a
something of the Black
card.
Rose. I think you're right.
Yeah.
And then a Chittering Rat.
I'm good at this game.
Yeah.
Conspiracy take the crown. Love that set. It's got Leovold in it.
Thorn of the Black Rose, apparently.
Yeah, love that set. It's got Leovold in it. So we did the Leovold lottery. We did actually win the Leovold lottery at one point, which was quite good.
That seems good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I got some boost back because I don't need anything from Rivals. So we change other things. Oh, that's all right then. Thorn of the Black Rose. Death Touch 1/3. Ends the battlefield, you become the monarch.
Which is fine when you're not getting beaten down.
Yeah. What does it happen when you're the Monarch?
End step, draw a card.
Oh yeah, so he's drawing
Your
multiple.
end step,
So you're drawing multiple cards a turn as the Monarch. And how do you lose being the Monarch?
Be attacked and dealt damage.
Yes. So at the moment we're fine. We also just drew a Grey Merchant of Asphodel. So an attack here for 4 with the Chittering Rats as well. And
This
then
feels like game.
Grey Merchant of Asphodel for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which is a lot of damage. So it looks like Daniel down to 2. The mono white heroic deck.
I'm to 25.
The old play of target your creature with my Defiant Strike, and we're going to scoop them up and go on to game number 3.
That is what the speed of the format is generally closer to.
What? Quite
that
quick.
Fast, yes.
That wasn't that fast. We got to 7 lands in play from a player. That's not fast.
Okay, by Legacy's and modern standard.
That's a turn faster than going approach into approach.
Okay, fine. I stand corrected.
Your opponent didn't do anything. Of course it's fast.
Yeah, that's also true.
Your opponent played a creature, got killed, and then dies because they just drew a load of spells. That's what happens in Magic, and that's why it looks fast. I think actually how fast it's been today is quite apparent. It's quite good.
Actually.
It's not very quick. It's not. I don't think it's a very fast format from what I've seen.
I keep hearing people say it's really fast for them, and I'm like...
Oh, I think they may have not drawn anything.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
how did I lose? I didn't do anything, and I died really quickly.
Yeah, you're probably right. Maybe my... sort of, it has to be said, anecdotal evidence is probably wrong.
Because you got to bear in mind, all the decks are on a similar power level in this format. More so than Standard, more so than Legacy, more so than Modern, because all of them you're so limited by the card pool in terms of power level of an individual card. Like Doomblade is a great card, but then it's not like powerful compared to a lot of other things. So because you don't have any planeswalkers, you don't have a way of dragging out the game. You don't have these really expensive mythics that encourage you to want to play later games. Whereas in Standard and stuff, you can have the games where you play mono red and you got smashed really quickly. But I think it's a really... I'm going to go with fair format because it really is from what I've seen so far.
Super fair format.
Super fair format because, again, you're playing with a pile of commons and the combo cards don't always fall across common. Yeah. Which is something that is really interesting, actually, and has been interesting. This one, that none of the matches have felt unwinnable for either side. Like even when matchups, even like the Kuldotha Boros versus Mono White Rebels, it never felt unwinnable for the Rebels deck. It felt bad, but it never felt unwinnable.
Yeah, I mean, even if the Boros deck had drawn more lands in the game than it did win, it would have been like, this might have been a close game. Yeah. Even, and game 1 was actually pretty close, apart from the sudden overwhelming power of the Boros deck. It just got off to a slightly faster start. If it had been a little bit slower off the draw, I think, yeah. No, absolutely. As you say, it seems like a format where there are decks where you're going to come up against and you're like, yeah, I'm not favoured in this matchup.
You still win.
I still can win.
Because probably one of the nicest compliments you can play to a format is when it's a fair format.
Right.
Because you get to play Magic, right? You don't just go, oh, I looked across the board and died on turn 1. I played a game of Legacy. It was great. I could have mulliganed. So I was playing in Storm. I thought, yes, right. I've got a hand here which makes a turn 2 Grizzlebrand on the play. I'm like, okay,
that seems solid.
I could mulligan. I could mulligan and try and find Force of Will and not do anything. I played a land. I did a thing and I died because he killed me on his turn 1. I'm like, feel pretty bad, but feel great at the same. Like it was Legacy, so it happens. It's great fun.
Yeah.
But this feels completely different. That it's never going to have something like that, which is great. So, both players are going to look at their opening hands. Let's see what we find. Daniel Johnson to be on the play. A couple of swamps there for Maxwell. Looks like a keepable hand there.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't really see the heroic deck.
Daniel likes keeping his cards close to his chest, but we've got the Trailblazer to start with.
Yeah, okay.
We've got a swamp, and we're going to pass
it. You best hope that you've got an edict and they don't have another creature.
Or a trial.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to turn 1 a Sacred Cat. Oh, yes.
There we go.
Hello.
Edict down. Edict down.
We're going to mutagenic growth. Oh,
okay, and we're going to put a +1/+1 counter on that. So we're in for free. Yeah, looks...
So that's...
that is wrong. That should not be 3 counters.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
One counter, deal 3.
There we go.
No second land, though, for Daniel, which is a point. Obviously, the high market...
yeah, I'm going to go for a Dust Legions there. I'll take 1 to chump.
And Gary.
Gary off the top.
Which blocks really well against a 1/5.
Yeah, but does it block so well against like a 5/9?
You've got to get to it first. And at the moment, you haven't really got a... yeah,
Jump.
we're going to jump.
I will go
You
under
also
the bus.
don't have a way of protecting it if your opponent, say, drew a Doomblade.
This is true. Right, I am considering as if he's got the armor on already, but the reality is, this looks like a very fast tapping of mana for
Shrivel.
-2/-2 to all creatures.
Minus
-1
1/1
to all creatures.
And then we're going to see a...
Entomb.
What?
No, unearth. It must
Unearth, yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it looks like an unearth because I was going to say Entomb does
And
definitely not do that.
No.
It does definitely not do that
No,
ability,
no,
and it's also, I
Entomb-
believe, an uncommon. I believe? Maybe. It's been an uncommon at least one set, but we're going to see Sacred Cat return to the battlefield as a 1/1. And we're going to see an attack here. I might not have chomped so quickly, but okay.
Yeah,
we
like
see
your opponent actually hasn't bothered doing anything to it this
We're
turn.
going to see a Chittering Rats enter the battlefield.
Put a card from your library back on top, from your hand back on top of your library. You are not drawing a land, sir.
Yeah, which is pretty good at the moment.
Yeah.
This also, this disfigure still not going to do anything.
No, because it's bigger and has first strike.
Yeah.
So you can't even like block disfigure. Oh no, well you can.
It's a 3
block
power creature. So
disfigure before damage.
Yep.
But it's still not enough.
It's 3 power at the moment, so take 3.
Yeah, I probably would. You want to be out of Grey Merchant for more than 2.
Still got a card to play. You might have to tell me what this one is because
We've just seen this in Rebels. I'm sure we have.
It's not, but it's getting disfigured anyway.
It's disfigured.
It's not in play very long. We're going to draw a card. We see a Sign in Blood off the top. We're going to see Sign in Blood.
Sign in Blood.
Draw
Myself.
2, lose 2.
Have you been signing blood to be shocked to the face? To die? I have.
Yeah, I haven't. No, I haven't. The ones I've seen is like I'd like to opportunity you. You draw 4 cards and mill out.
You are still not drawing a land, Daniel.
The white deck. So it is a Deft Blade Elite. You won't show me what the card looks like. I'll still got internet.
Okay. Anyway,
yeah, Deft Blade Elite, 1 mana, 1/1, provoke, 1 and a white, prevent all combat damage that we dealt to and dealt by Deft Blade Elite this
excellent
turn.
in Vintage Masters draft. Actually.
We are going to see a huge Grey Merchant this turn for 6 and
yeah,
Sheena's Edict.
Edict. Can we deal with the cat and then just edict away?
I think we just make a 2/4.
I think no, absolutely no. This turn we're definitely making a 2/4. And gaining 6 and dealing 6.
Yeah,
that seems
pretty
solid.
Big. That's a pretty big turn, and no land again for Daniel. And the 3 power attacker.
Not actually so getting through Gary.
However,
oh, there we
now
go.
It does.
Yep. Okay. Does the hyena armor give
+1/+1?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It gives +1/+1. So it's currently a 3/4. It's a 5/9.
5/9 with
first strike
and
totem armor. Okay, take 5.
I would probably take 5 here.
Tap draw.
We want a removal spell for the cat.
Is that a removal spell?
I don't know. I feel like that's a discard spell. Yeah, it's duress. There we go.
That is a pile of
irrelevant cards.
Yeah.
And creatures mostly.
It's very pretty duress though.
Yeah, I know. That is actually art I have never seen before. That is beautiful.
It's very pretty duress. And we'll get rid of that card. Okay, so how do we deal with the Laguna Band Trailblazer? Well, we've got plenty of blockers.
We deal with the cat. We deal with the cat, and then we edict. This is the game. But I don't think we've got a way of dealing with the cat.
You can wrench your opponent's mind
here, which leaves them.
Get him out of cards.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, and it means like if they do draw land, they're still not doing anything.
You need to try and get rid of the Sky Guard at the moment.
Yeah.
Because it flies. It's the only reason.
It flies. Yeah, absolutely.
You can probably block.
Yeah.
Forever. Against this Trailblazer.
Especially if you've got more unearths in your deck. Unearth is CMC 2 or less, right?
We can find out, because we have a lovely thing here.
Yes.
Unearth. And save. Attack for 2 with Grey Merchant of Asphodel. So Unearth.
CMC 3 or less with Cycling 2.
Put the card into play, Cycling 2. That's a pretty good card, actually.
Right.
Like, you can't get big Grey Merchant, but
you could Chittering Rats. Oh, there's the land though.
So this is why I might have gone for the Wrench Mind.
Wrench Mind. Yep. No, I can get you on that one.
Like if you're not doing anything else with your mana in a turn, just Wrench Mind them because you don't lose anything for it, and you give them 1 card.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you're going to get value out of that either way. Like.
Or I think he's hoping that he plays. Oh.
No. Okay. Suiting up.
What does that one do?
I do not know.
Let's go back to the computer. Bringing my laptop with me is coming real useful today, actually.
Yeah.
Just understanding
Let's hope it lasts through this last game.
It should do.
We're attacking for lots.
4 mana?
Oh.
I don't know what that card does.
I believe that's dealing with the cat. Right, okay, so...
Oh, that's fantastic. So...
and he's just going to take the damage. Take the damage? Really?
I couldn't tell you what that card was. It looked like it was 4 mana, and now we're going to chain his edict. It's not on this list of cards.
Not on the main... No. Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to apologise for
that. That's basically game there, unfortunately. Like, you've got a flyer still in Daniel's...
Chow Mano's Blessing. You can play... Anytime you can play an instant, comes to play, choose a colour, it gets protection from chosen colour.
So it was protection from black and also still had totem armour.
Yeah,
so it couldn't be blocked. That was the point, though, right? Pro black means
that's a very interesting block there by. I don't think you block. You're at 3 life.
Yeah, but you've got
to
find a way of suiting up, I think. But that's game.
That turned around quickly. But again, that is the thing with the heroic decks, and we saw this all the time when heroic was in standard, when it was in limited. If you could deal with the threat, then you were going to do fine.
It's just the dealing with the threat part of the equation.
And we see a pair of Shrivels, the Fawn of the Throws.
Doomblade in from the sideboard seems
very
good.
Nice. It's just a good card, right? Against a mono white deck, kills everything.
Yep.
And there's no hexproof card that you're worried about.
Yeah. But
obviously the Tomano's Blessing gives it hexproof to an extent as well. So.
Yeah, against mono black, absolutely. That's
and
another little bonus.
Yeah, and when you're playing against a single colour deck, it's another way of dealing with it. Obviously, I can see why the Delver deck's quite strong. If you have Vapor Snag, straight upstairs, put that card back in your hand, lose all these enchantments, including the Totem Armour.
Yes.
But again, congratulations to Maxwell Lee taking down round number 4, and I believe, unless I am very sorely mistaken, 4-0, which is okay.
Yeah, no, solid. That's a good night at Pauper. To be fair, I think everyone's had a good night at Pauper.
Yeah, even me. And I don't play the format.
I was going to say, so do we get to hear your opinion on the format now? Or do you want to close it?
At some point.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty much the end now.
Yeah.
It's 10:30. Some trains to catch at some point soon.
I was going to say.
What I will say is I may at some point journey to the bank. I may extract somewhere between £30 and £40 and buy a deck because that's what it is. It's fantastic. Like, actually, today I've had a lot of fun, and quite frankly, I will probably buy a Pauper deck. What I will buy, I have absolutely no idea, but it looks hilariously
You like grinding,
fun.
Right?
Yes.
You
no, I'm not. But I'm not getting the relic. I'm not getting the Rebel deck.
No, not the Rebel deck. You get the Tortured Existence deck. Just things back from the graveyard, and
I'm not going to do it now. I'll have a look at another time.
Amazingly, the professor did a video on it. You can go and watch his YouTube video on the deck.
Yeah, I think one thing to take from today is there is no reason to not buy a Pauper deck.
No.
Like, bearing in mind the Rebel deck was 7 ticks on Modo. I think it was $17 to buy in paper.
Yeah.
That you can't do that with any other format.
So you know what's really funny? When I first started out on Modo, when I was like starting to get better, I bought like 3 Pauper decks for about $20. Now this was 3 years ago, before the
Pauper scene.
Pauper scene got as big as it had. And that was how I learned how to play Modo properly.
That's fair enough.
How the interface works and priority and everything that comes with Magic. Yep. And it has made me such a better Magic player today.
I can see that.
Because you know how to play Modo.
It's also dirt cheap.
And it's so cheap.
There is no way on this planet that you are wasting money buying a Pauper deck.
No.
Because it doesn't cost a lot, it doesn't rotate, and you can probably play it at some point.
Yeah.
And we can see from today, you can see from today that we've got how many players did we have?
48.
48 players.
We were nearly 50 players tonight.
We had 48 players that
own and have available in paper.
So if I don't have a calculator on me.
Go on.
But probably if we...
What numbers are we talking here? What are you asking?
No. Okay. Bear with me on this one.
Okay.
Bear with me on this one.
To be fair, doing maths on camera is a bad idea. We know this. But I think
I'll take your word on that one. No. Before we go on, let's do this.
Okay.
We had... So let's do it as this. And we had 48 players. So we probably had about an average of about $2,000 worth of cards in the room. in a tournament, that's about 700 more than buying the 4-color pile deck in Legacy. We could buy 2 Legacy decks, or we can have a room of players playing Pauper. I know which one I'd rather choose, to be fair. And I do actually, one thing I have learned from today is it's a very interesting format. It's very fun. There are a lot of intriguing things within the decks as well. It's not a, you must play this deck. And
there
you,
are no
within,
set lists.
Within it, well,
there are no
archetypes.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's no way that you must play this number and you must play this. I mean, if I was playing a mono black deck, I'd just go, let me put these 4 Doomblades into my deck. Because I'm not having that happen to me. But And then obviously Gurmag Anglers and stuff like that. But one of the things that has really stood out to me is how fair and actually open the format is. And normally to me an elf deck should just crush everything, but actually it really doesn't.
No. There's none of these like rares and mythics that just crush you if you don't have the answer to them right then and there. So you get to have these slightly more interactive back and forthy games.
So for how much it costs and for the fact that it looks quite fun, I will buy a Pauper deck at some point. As I say, you are in no way wasting any form of money if you bought a Pauper deck. Because and the worst about Pauper is when people talk about how little it costs. That's a positive in my mind. Like that is a real benefit to playing the format, because there's no
stigma about how much your deck costs.
Okay, so here's the other side of it. For someone who doesn't play Pauper, cost is a thing, because I already play Modern, Legacy and Standard. For having something that I can go and buy, and it's nice and cheap, and I can just turn up to a tournament and have fun with it.
You know how people bring Commander decks to things?
I've never played Commander.
See, this is it, me neither. But I'm going to start bringing my Pauper deck to things, and it's just like,
exactly.
You want to sit down and have a game of Pauper?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the interesting thing is, if you look, there's 48 people in the room. I've never seen this room busy for a midweek tournament ever in my life. Tells you how popular a Pauper is, how good the format is, and I will concede this format is incredibly good. It is really fair, it's really open. You can play a multitude of different decks and not be any less than maybe 45, 55, I'm sure.
Yeah,
like that's probably what we saw on camera today is probably the worst you've got. And the Heroic deck won one of the games.
Yeah, exactly.
Quite comfortably, actually, and not with any sort of unreasonable draw. And I think that's the one thing I'm going to take away from this, is the most important thing is, A, it's a really interesting format. You can play a lot of different things, and even like the Professor said when he was here, it's just people having fun.
Yeah.
There's no people don't really care if they win or lose at Pauper.
No.
There is obviously people want to win. You've come to an event, but like, let's actually be fair. People have had fun. I've had fun. I've never played it before. I'm definitely going to play some Pauper at some point. I'm definitely going to get my own deck and not feel bad about it in any way.
No,
and I think any stigma people have for Pauper should be removed, because it's, having done it today, it's so much fun. And I will hold my hands up. At one point I was like, why would I want to play a format like that? It seems terrible. But actually, having watched it today, it's actually a pretty fantastic format.
You think about the commons you see in draft and you're like, why would I play a deck with those in? That seems awful. And then you're like, oh no, wait a minute. What did Wizards print at common in the past?
Ponder, Preordain, Brainstorm, Delver of Secrets, Gush. Good thinking, Wizards. Love you, because it has made a fantastic format. And I think anyone who's watched today who doesn't play Pauper, or for anyone who wants to try and play a different thing that is really easy to get into, there's no limitations on it, just try it.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no barrier to entry like there is with Legacy and Modern. Just do it,
or
because
I
don't think you'll regret it.
No, I can't see how you could regret paying $20, 40 pounds maybe for a deck.
Exactly, and
even if you play it like a weekend or something.
And I think you'll play it loads. Like we've seen today, like especially at the GPs. The GPs are probably going to start running more Pauper events, because there were 300 plus people took part in the Pauper event at GP London.
Yeah.
And I imagine that community is as big anywhere in the world as it is here in the UK and in Europe. You could probably go to any GP, do a Pauper event, and fill it with 3 figures worth of people, which is literally all you need to make a format look and go, yes, actually, this is a viable thing to do.
Yeah. Exactly, it's the viability of the format, right? You can run events like this and have enough people show up to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, is people will turn up to a Pauper event. If you ran one and said, I want to run a Pauper event one night of the week, and as long as it doesn't clash with anyone else's, I can tell you what, you'll probably get a decent amount of people turn up. Dark Sphere is not always the easiest to get for people, but I can tell you what, 48 people is a good tournament.
People are risking missing trains for this format
Yep,
now. Yeah, I know you're risky.
Charing Cross and London Cannon Street apparently are not running properly tonight, so I've got to go and try and find.
People are really missing trains for this format tonight.
I mean, it's not even about that. Just watching the 4 matches today and looking around at some of the other decks, looking at the people playing them, I want to get involved with this. This was great fun.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I'm going to be stepping back from playing competitively quite a lot, because I have a little boy now that I want to try and spend a lot more time with on weekends. So my time to play Magic as a competitive level is going to reduce. There's a few things I can do.
Yeah.
But for me, the main thing is that I can come and do this on a weekday and have a lot of fun. And I can do it on Fridays at a GP. I can meet up with friends and do this. And this is actually really fun.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's a very interesting format. It's very open and diverse. And I'm going to lie, competitive formats are great until you get bored of them. I don't think you get bored of this.
No, there's just too much to do. There is just too much to do in this format.
Do you have anything you'd like to add before we sign off for the night?
I don't particularly think so. I'd obviously love to thank everyone who's come down, everyone who's watched. Thank you very much for watching, because as the professor has been saying all night, all weekend in fact, he was at the GP saying, this is you. This is the community saying, we want this format, this is our format. So I think, thank you all very much.
And you've converted me.
Yeah, we've got a convert right here. We've got at least one new convert tonight.
You've converted me, and I'm definitely willing to give this one another go and come and possibly commentate it if the boss man will let us do it again. But
yeah, absolutely.
That's his decision. I've got the easy decision of just getting a deck. The boss man's got the decision over whether we do this again. But it's been a popular night tonight. We're going to sign off for it. Do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I do. There
Lord.
is commentary most nights this week.
Yes,
so
yes, there is.
There's a lot of commentary on at Darksphere, so if you want to watch some Magic, Legacy Tuesday, Modern Wednesday.
I'll be there. I'll be here on Wednesday.
He'll be on Wednesday.
Doing Modern. Might know a bit more.
I was going to say, you'll know some more cards.
I probably don't have to bring my laptop with me on Wednesday. Should be all right without the laptop on Wednesday.
A lot more streaming coming. If you want to see the full details, go to Darksphere website. I'm sure you will be able to find it.
You'll definitely
on
see
the internet.
You'll see a lot more of me, especially at the PPTQ in March, at the end of March for the standard PPTQ. You'll probably see a lot more of me because I love doing what I do. I love this commentary. I think it's great fun. You'll probably see a lot more of this man here. He probably won't do Modern because he's still scared for some reason.
I don't understand. I'm not good at it.
It doesn't matter. This is how you learn. I came and did Pauper. I've got no idea about the format, but you've got to dive in and have fun. And it's the same with this format. Dive in, have some fun with Pauper. We're going to sign off for the night. Thank you very much for watching. John Partridge, Jack Patton, signing off.